dive into the current state of Walt Disney Animation Studios with my friends from ImagineeringDisney.com on this episode of the Movies Past and Present podcast. Hello and welcome to the Movies Past and Present podcast. It's July 27th, 2024, and this is episode 125. I'm your host, Stanford Clark, and I'm podcasting from the crossroads of the West in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. Just like my website, moviespastandpresent.com, I'll be providing recommendations, commentary, and reviews about current and classic cinema. Thanks for tuning in, and let's do this thing. My good friends Mitch and Lilly from ImagineeringDisney.com join me on the podcast today to discuss the current state of things at Walt Disney Animation Studios. So Mitch had a really interesting idea a few weeks ago, just in an online chat that he and Lilly and I were having. Mitch challenged Lilly and me to rank the films from Walt Disney Animation Studios over the last 15 years. I guess technically it was 14 years, but it was from 2009's The Princess and the Frog up till 2023's film Wish. And it just made me think that actually this maybe would be a really fun conversation to have on the podcast. And so we have a very lengthy discussion about these films that we've ranked, and we talk about each of our top threes and our bottom three films. And then we talk about some upcoming films that are happening from Walt Disney Animation Studios, and then just our overall impressions of what the studio is doing and where it's going. So, Disney Nerds Unite. I hope you'll have a good time listening to Mitch and Lilly. They've got some great insights, and they just really, they really know their stuff. And also, just FYI, the full list that Mitch, Lilly, and I created of our full rankings of these last 14 films from 2009 to the present are available on my website at moviespastandpresent.com. You'll see them in the podcast notes. I'm so happy and grateful I get to talk with two of my great friends, Mitch and Lilly from ImagineeringDisney.com. Hello.
How are you?
Happy to be back.
How are you both?
Doing really well. We're excited to be on the show with you.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you take the time to do it. And I always love talking Disney and everything else with you both. We're going to start with these lists that all three of us created, and there are 14 films. Does that sound right to you both? There
Yes.
are 14 films over the past, technically I guess it's 24 years, but now it's 25 years, although we don't have the film from this year. It's not coming out until Thanksgiving, which we'll get to. But anyway, we thought just for the sake of time that we would go over our top three films and then our bottom three films from this list of how we've ranked these 14 films. So Lilly, why don't we start with you? What are your top three films over the last 15 years from Walt Disney Animation Studios?
Okay, this definitely was a very interesting exercise. And as I was looking at the list and I was thinking through, okay, like if I were going to say which one of these is actually the best movie, which one would it be? And of course, I'm thinking about which ones have the best songs and which one has the best storyline, characters, animation. But when I thought through the list entirely, Big Hero 6 is the only movie on this list for me that I believe has nothing wrong with it. I walked out of the movie theater with no complaints. And I actually just watched it again recently because I'm like, am I crazy? Like, I know that this is not the movie that most people remember. In fact, there's probably some people who don't even remember that it is a Disney movie. It hasn't been a Broadway musical. Lin-Manuel Miranda didn't write the songs. Okay, so I understand it doesn't have those things going for it, but I love this movie. It's perfectly done in my opinion, and I think the storyline is absolutely interesting from the beginning to the end. Just even that first shot of this San Francisco Tokyo
Yeah,
mashup
San
and
Fran,
the
Yes.
Tokyo.
Yeah.
this super interesting culture mashup that they do throughout the film, which is just done so brilliantly and so tastefully, even at the point where, like, in the nerd school, the some of the kids have reference to lean principles from like Japanese manufacturing and things like that. Like, it's so interesting. And then I just kind of feel like it has everything that you could want in a movie. It's got good relationships, it's got great characters. I love the soundtrack. I love a story about a boy and his robot. Like, it's got fighting. It's got, I mean, I think it's got everything. I even love the Stan Lee reference at the end. Like, I just feel like everything was done well. Like, for what they were doing, it was super interesting. I thought it was a great idea, well executed. Love the animation, a few nods to anime and those types of things. So I thought it was a great movie. So that's
No,
why
I
it's my number
agree.
one.
You know, I seem to remember that we saw it together, like the three of us, or is that
I
not
think
true?
I think we did,
Or
or at least Mitch, you and I saw it.
did we see it like the two
Yeah.
of us?
Yeah. That would have
I,
been
I was
fantastic
actually
too.
trying to remember. Maybe I did see it with you guys because
Yeah.
We
I
might
don't
have.
Yeah,
remember.
we might have all seen it
Uh,
together.
I'm with you. In fact, as we do this, we might have some of the same three, but in different order. It's my number three, and I really struggled with it. I almost put it into number two. I almost put it into number one. But Lily, I'm with you because it checks all the boxes, right? It's got a great cast of characters. It's got a very lovable lead in Hero, the boy, and then the Baymax, the robot. He's like unlike any other robot ever on film, I would think. And you've got just that great story, the great setting, that kind of comic book sort of feel, but not. I liked it better than the Marvel films because the Marvel films are just full of things that frustrate me and like annoy me and like make me mad, and for the most part, and I to the point where I just kind of stopped watching most of them because they're just I, I don't know. I got sick of the superhero thing. This is a superhero film that's of course it's animated, but it's got so much going for it. Like it's just something you just don't want to stop watching.
You know,
Yeah.
I love this choice, and I love, Lily, that you've got it at number one because it really is such a good film. I have it at number four, which it was hard because I kind of swapped it out between number three or number four, but everything you said about it, I totally agree, and I think too. One of the reasons why I really love this movie as well is I feel like there's such an emotional core to it that when the hero loses his brother, and uh, in a way his brother lives on in the programming of Baymax,
Yes.
and this is just
Yes.
it's really touching and really meaningful, and then also even with the villain, he's got such an interesting story too. I just think the characterizations are so good and the animation's so lovely. It's just one of the best. I'm so happy that I can't remember exactly all the films that it was up against, but when it won the Academy Award for Best Animated Film, I was just so thrilled because
You know,
it deserves it, I think.
yeah, I agree, and I think one other thing I love is that the characters are intelligent. They're not. It's not a bunch of dummies, right? And obviously there's a place for that in film, but in this film they're smart, they're academic, they're nerdy, they're kind of the Comic Con sort of group. He's he's a prodigy, the boy. He's and his older brother is like well on his way into being a very successful engineer and everything. Um, I love that. I think that a boy coming in at the beginning, they have that robot fight,
Yeah.
like the
I
little,
love
what do they
Yes.
call it? Where they have like these small robots in the ring and people are
like
betting
the
and
cockfights. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's just such a cool thing, and a boy that can do this, and then he introduces his little micro robots and everything. It kind of really, Lily, you said it best when you said it just has nothing wrong with it, and I seriously don't think I've ever found anything wrong with it
Yeah, I
either.
agree. I agree. It's a perfect
the
film, really.
The only reason I didn't put it a little bit higher, and this is, I don't know, maybe if I thought about it more, I would change my mind. But the other two I had above it are we watch a little bit more often in our home. Like I think that for whatever reason, it's just if you're going to watch something epic like Big Hero 6, it's you got to commit to it. You got to sit down and just really kind of turn off the lights and pump up the volume and just really kind of get into it. Which makes for a better viewing experience, of course. And the other ones I chose are a little more easy watching, kind of more casual, rewatchable, I guess. But other than that, like I don't have any complaint.
Yeah,
Excellent choice, Lily.
I actually feel smarter after I watch it. Like I'm like, wow, this
Oh,
is
that's a really good point.
yeah. It also just there are some really fun references, and I feel like Disney sometimes does these kind of like pop culture references, but they're so over the top.
Yeah.
It was so subtle in this, and even um like Callahan being the villain, who is also the villain gone bad in Legally Blonde. And also, they kind of look like each other, the two villains.
Oh, I didn't
You know,
know
just
that.
it's so subtle, but it's just so it's interesting, I think. So and even just like the San Francisco Bridge, and like just it's beautiful. It's kind of strange, but it doesn't feel strange, like it feels right. It's so anyway, yes, I really like this film a lot.
Yeah, it just works, right?
Yeah,
Everything
it does.
works.
It
It works.
works.
Yeah, it
Yes, it
works.
works. All right. My number two is Encanto. I do think, like
Oh.
pretty much everything else on the list, there's some things about it that I don't like, but I think that Encanto is a really great message. I think that's the standout thing for me, is that like when I get to the end of the film, like how am I feeling? What is my takeaway? And when they're singing the song that like it's not a gift, it's you, the miracle is you. Like I'm just so touched by that messaging. And I like it conceptually. I like this idea that there's sort of this family in this unique town, and they have these sort of unique gifts, and it's sort of this enchanted village. Um, the quirks are, I think, you know, some of the magics, the gifts are, didn't necessarily come into play or those types of things, but like the idea of it, I think, is really enchanting. And I love the songs. I mean, it's funny because I walked out of the film thinking, those songs weren't really Lin-Manuel Miranda's best. And then like 5 seconds later, I was like, "We don't talk about Bruno." No. I mean, just like a worm in my brain. That like 5 seconds later, I'm like, "What am I talking about? This song is genius! Like everything about it is so good and interesting." And the internet flooded with Bruno videos. I did one at my work with my executives that went viral in my company. So I mean, it's fun. I think it was a good film. I really liked it.
It's a beautiful movie. I love this film too. I don't have it in my top three, but it's my top five. I think that uh, one of the things I love about it is that I think animation is such a great uh, vehicle for the storytelling. I feel that way with Big Hero 6 too, in that it's this magical house. These people that have
Yeah, the
like these
house.
magical powers, but in such an interesting way, and the story's so touching too, and the songs are great. I think that so it all just comes together, and I thought they aced it. What a great film.
I thought it was interesting that they had the whole family dynamic, right, with all the different kind of quirky individuals. It was very much Meet the Robinsons, kind of meets Coco, in the way that it was more
Mm.
Latin America, but it had that kind of very peculiar family, right? The family that has all these kind of crazy things happening around them. I don't know. It came together beautifully. I had a lot of hesitation going into it, thinking, okay, they're gonna just be silly and dumb and wacky, and just like, what in the world are they gonna do with this house that can like move around and kind of come to life? But man, they nailed it. They really did a good job. I thought the characters are all very endearing, and the environments are gorgeous.
Hmm.
The animation's great. Yeah, the music. I'm with you, Lily. I At first I didn't think much of it, but the more I've watched it, the more I've really gotten to love the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one that guy grows on you, isn't it? Because it's not like, as you're saying, Lily, it's not like instantly you're just like, oh wow, this was amazing. But for me, it just like stayed with me. and anytime I've rewatched it, I've never gotten bored. I've
Yeah.
always engaged, and I think that's one of the things. The songs are actually, I think, pretty complex, and I marvel particularly at we don't talk about Bruno in that. I mean, how many people are
Right?
singing at the same time?
Yeah.
The complexity of
Right.
that music.
Yes. Yes, all those different melodies and rhythms, it just
Yeah,
all really worked well together. It
it
was so
works. It
interesting.
just works together. Yeah, terrific.
And the main character, Maribel, she's I find her to be very a really great main character. Like there's just something about her, like just the way she is. She's not this like supermodel. She's not this princess. She's not all these kind of cliche things that she could have been. She's just like that, smart and kind lead character, and that really kind of has to, as Lily was talking, has to kind of find her way, right? And I really think they did a good job. And I'm surprised at how many little girls I see, like at Disneyland or elsewhere, that have the glasses or the T-shirt or whatever. So she's really kind of uh, a kind of an underdog hero of animated films of recent years.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I agree.
she has so much wisdom, like in her quirkiness, she has just this connective power, even like just with that first scene with the kids in the beginning, and she's so
Oh
playful
yeah,
with them. And you just love her. I remember seeing her character in the park, and like my heart was like, oh, I love her. Never look everyone, it's Mirabelle. Like it just
Aw.
she's a great character. She is.
Yeah, she is, and she has to overcome a lot. I think in the movie, but it's just handled just all just so well. She never really plays the victim, even though she's got a lot to sort out with how things rolled out with kind of they roll out of the gift, and whatnot. Anyway, but I agree, great character, and it is so fun to see her in the parks and how people respond to her.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Um, all right,
I put that at
Moana.
I have that at number 4 for me, and
Yeah,
the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, oh, maybe it should be bumped
I
up.
know. It was so hard. I have it number 5, and the same thing was like, maybe it should be higher.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely one in both of your top threes that I think can move down.
Oh, we'll get to
So,
that.
We'll get to
we'll get to
that.
that. We'll get to that.
All right, Lily, what's your number 3?
So Moana. Moana is my third. And again, I love this film, and in both cases, I think in Encanto and Moana, I think Manuel Miranda, in his lyricist, he is a very good storyteller. He really tells these stories through these songs in a way that I think is incredibly powerful. And I know that the storyline of Moana kind of changed a few times, and I think where it ended up was good. My hesitation is, I hate like the dart in the butt jokes, like that kind of stuff is just
Yeah, yeah.
not, it's not my thing, and I could do without it. And it doesn't feel like it belongs in Disney movies to me. It feels like that belongs in DreamWorks or other studios. So I always hate when that stuff is there. But again, really good characters. I love the the shiny song with this villain who's also like dazzling. I just think he's a
Yeah.
great character. I think that this messaging around the ancestors is incredible. And at the end, just seeing the grandmas, that this like vision of the grandma coming back to Moana and like telling her who she is, and her really finding herself. And then she takes this whole self to this moment where she restores the heart of the ocean. And I love that song where, she's like, this does not define you. This is not who you are. You know who you are. It's like you can see it's almost the kind of song that makes you like see the goodness in everyone. And I think it's really, really awesome. So yeah, I love it.
Moana is, I think, one of the most beautiful films that Disney's ever made.
Yes.
Can you believe that animation, just how spectacular it is? And uh, I mean, I love it all, but Lily, you brought up the scene that probably is my favorite is that one when her grandma comes back to her, and
Yeah.
the way that they animate kind of the manta ray or whatever specifically that animal is.
Yes, it's
Uh-huh.
so
I mean, it
beautiful.
is so
Yes.
beautiful, and I mean, dare I say, like magical, like kind of like Disney at its very best, uh, and not like a try use of that word, but just it creates the most wonderful movie going experience and the most moving story. Oh wow, I just can't say enough about Moana. It's in my top three. We'll be getting to that too. Love it.
I like the tattoos that move.
Aren't
Yeah, the
those
story with
clever?
the yeah,
Like the
yeah.
like the dancing like little
Yes.
tattoos. I mean that's just some hand animation that I
Yeah.
don't know, appreciate. That's a little tiny thing.
Eric Goldberg did, right?
That's
On
right,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Goldberg did that, and it's just great. I'm a fan of the sidekicks, the Hey Hey and the pig. What's the pig's
Oh,
name?
Pua.
Pua. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, I just think they're so cute, and I'm not always a fan of little sidekicks, but
Oh, they're so
they're
cute.
they're adorable.
Pua is just like the cutest little animal, Disney
Yeah.
animal ever. And Hey Hey is great comic relief. I mean, he's fantastic.
Our son is named Hayden, and his nickname is Hey Hey. I think like one of the boys called him that when he was little or something. And so when the movie came out, we're like, hey, hey. And so everybody gives him little hey, hey plush animals and like little
Oh my gosh,
I
toys and
love
stuff.
that's so funny.
That's so perfect.
I've never even thought about that.
Yeah, I think this could be one of the most beautiful films ever made, period, like live action or
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
Um, the whole island setting and I love the little islander kids like running
Oh, I do
around and
too.
just like and all the different animals, the like I don't know what they call it, shape shifting or when he turns into different things. Um,
Hmm.
they really did it. I have it further down on my list. Like I think it's number 5 or 6. But once again, like that's why this list is so hard to make because there are some that really deserve top 3, but then they just get edged out by such a little amount.
Yeah,
And then, well, we'll get to the bottom 3, but it's weird how many are like top 3 material and then how many are bottom 3 material at the same time.
yeah.
I mean, like different ones.
I think that. Oh, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
please after you, Lily.
One thing that really struck me too. I actually went to Tahiti just
Oh
a
yeah.
little
That's
a little while
right.
ago, and it.
You were
I
like
mean,
doing live action, like truly live action Moana.
it legit was. Yeah, we sailed through all of the islands, and
Because
the
you're on a
way that
sailboat, right?
like actual sailboat. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's so amazing.
Wow.
And oh, those lyrics of Moana just came to my mind so many times. Like it did such a good job of like capturing the spirit of the way that these people live and respect the water and what's living in the water and even the island. Like I remember a man saying like people come here and they just think the internet's not fast enough or whatever, but it's like we don't need anything more. Like we have our families and we have enough food and like we have everything we need. Like the land provides for us and
Yeah.
like we provide for it. And I'm
It's
just
so
like, oh my
beautiful.
gosh, like that's very yeah, I feel like the film really pointed to that really well.
No, absolutely. And if you go to Epcot anytime soon, you can experience the Moana. What do they call it? Mo-
Journey of Water
Journey
sounds
of
about right.
Water. Have either of you been to it yet?
I have. Yeah. What did
Now,
What
I
did you think, Mitch? Have you seen
I,
it?
I I haven't seen it yet. It was like under construction when I last went. But well, why is it in Epcot, Future World for one? But other than that, outside of like the kind of the improper setting and everything that we can, that's another conversation for
Another
another day.
topic for another day.
It looked pretty cool. I mean, it looked like
Optics.
it was more of an Animal Kingdom or Magic Kingdom sort of thing. But yeah, props to Disney for kind of bringing that to an actual environment where you can kind of walk around and enjoy it that way.
I really was impressed with the Journey of Water. You know, it's out of it's not in the right place. I don't think, that's it, just as you were saying, Mitch, but uh, it's really beautifully done and interactive and really clever and really interesting. I mean, the only thing that I think where it kind of fits in Epcot is that it is a bit of edutainment.
True,
The
yeah.
way that they've done it is really, I think, very appropriate though, because they're not hitting you overhead with this conservation message. It's just teaching you about it, and then you get to have some experiences with it. The way you can manipulate the water. My only thought is just my only hope is like this is probably going to be breaking every day, and who knows if they're going to be able to keep it maintained.
They won't, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of don't think they will. Anyway, that's not very nice.
And
That's
speaking
I will.
speaking of parks, they one time I was working when I was working at Walt Disney World, I was backstage Magic Kingdom, and I look over and there's this big giant bald guy, and it was The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, right? And we're the only ones back there. And he looks over at me and he gives me the eyebrow, like one eyebrow's down and one eyebrow's like
like
up.
his wrestling eyebrow or
Yeah,
whatever. Like,
yeah,
are you spilling what the Rock is cooking or whatever?
yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly. And he did that and then give me the "what's up" nod, like "what's up." And I did, and I was like,
Mitch.
"Oh, this is totally crazy! Like, what is happening here?" And he got in some white van came up and picked him up, like a guest relations van or something. Picked him up. He got in and he like waved goodbye, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
There you go.
That is cool. Actually,
Classic.
So we're pretty close, I guess. Like we spent 45 seconds
that's
together
right.
once.
BFF.
Yeah, yeah. You should ask him about it. He'd remember.
With the Rock.
Absolutely. Of
Well,
course. He probably is going to talk about it next
I
time
know, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised he
he's in
hasn't.
an interview or something. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. This is like, yeah, I met Mitch backstage. It's awesome.
Yeah, amazing.
One other quick thing about Moana that always has made me really happy too. It was the last film that Ron Clements and John Musker
Oh,
directed,
right.
and those
Oh,
guys are legends in every sense of the word. They directed The
Mermaid.
Little Mermaid and Aladdin, and anyway, and I just love it that they went out with such a strong film, such a great film. And I remember reading that a lot of the younger animators that worked on Moana were like actually fighting to work on it because they wanted to work with Ron and John.
Oh yeah, that
And
duo. Mm.
and anyway, so that made me really happy too that those two could go out on a really high note with such an outstanding film.
No, I totally agree. It's too bad they're not in the business anymore. Like I
I
mean,
know,
it's weird to see that generation. They were like the young generation. They were the new generation. They were the
right?
like up and coming generation. Now they're all
Now they're all retired.
retired. Yeah.
Yeah, and frankly, Disney needs them. But we'll get
Oh
to
no,
that.
I agree. We'll get to that.
All right, Lily. Outstanding three choices.
thank you. Thank you.
Outstanding. All right, Mitch. Let's turn it over the floor to you.
All right. You want to do number one first or number three? Okay.
Whichever you want. Whatever you want.
Let's do number one. My number one of the last 14 films that Disney feature animation was Tangled. Now, honestly, I did not expect that to be number one, but when I looked at all of the different kind of criteria, right, the requirements, it checked all the boxes. It ranked very high on all the categories. It's kind of classic in nature. It's got good characters. It's got it's fairy tale, which is not a requirement, but it's nice that the Disney went back to kind of the old storybook fairy tale sort of setting. It's funny. It's got beautiful animation, beautiful environments. I like the music. Something that we sing a lot in our home. My wife sings the Tangled soundtrack quite a bit. It's it's got a couple little things that I'm not a huge fan of, just tiny little nitpicks. But overall, it's just got that great story and just viewing experience. So I put it at number one because of how high every single category ranked for me, and no other film had that quite so much.
I do think it's a good film. It's I like the characters, like you say. It's got some fun ideas in it, like a horse that acts like a dog. It's just kind of
Yeah.
fun. I do like the songs. I think the villain's a pretty good villain. I like the mama character. I think she's interesting, likable, and also very dark. So I think she's just kind of
Yeah,
an
yeah.
interesting character. So
Do you guys remember when they were marketing this film? It had a very troubled kind of path that it was on for a long time. It was going to be hand animated. It was, the great Glenn Keane
Yeah,
was
was
working
directing
on it.
it. Yeah,
You had all this sort of like, you had management stepping in, and it just had it had a lot of ups and downs along the way. Then it was going to be made into computer generated, which was not very common for Disney at the time. They'd already started that, but it wasn't like, you know they they had done Princess and the Frog, which was traditional hand drawn. They'd done a couple other ones before, like Bolt and Chicken Little and stuff. But the way they marketed it was, they changed the name. They said it's going to no longer be called Rapunzel. It's going to be called Tangled, which a lot of us fans like kind of cringed at, because, okay, here we go again. Management's trying to change the name of the film. They're not letting the filmmakers make the call. That was a problem in the 80s as well. The problem in the 90s. Like, it just seems to always be the problem that they can't just have they have to get kind of weird with the name. And then also a lot of the footage that they released, like the trailers and everything, had this kind of modern Disney Channel type pop music. It didn't look like what we actually got, and that's a good thing, because what we got is far better than what they were kind of showing us in the beginning. So I think a lot of us animation fans and Disney fans went into it thinking, okay, Disney really screwed this up. There's no way that they were able to pull this off. And then we were pleasantly surprised that they did make a pretty good film.
yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
have it at number one too, which of course, we can get to it. I love this movie again for all the reasons you've articulated, Mitch. Also, I just felt like finally, everybody was embracing computer animation, right? Including Disney. They were trying, and I thought that they nailed it. They made a computer animated film that really looked and felt like a Disney film,
Yes.
and and I really love it. I think same thing. Like, all concerned, like the marketing campaign. I thought, remember that poster? I thought that the poster with it's just all the hair, and then Flynn and Rapunzel's eyes are kind of
Yeah.
peering out, and
Peeking
they both
through.
look like they're like mischievous, almost like that they're kind of up to no good. The way that their eyes were, and I was
Yep.
thinking, oh dear, what are we, what are we in for? And then I'm so pleasantly surprised. I loved the Alan Menken music.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Yes.
and again, and also again, a really emotional story. I guess I know I keep coming back to that, but that's some of the stuff that I really love about a good Disney movie is that, I mean, what scene? I mean, there's really no scene that's more touching to me in a Disney film was when Rapunzel gets reunited with her parents.
Oh yeah, because she's been separated
Yes.
since
You know,
birth. Yeah.
it's just so beautifully done because it's silent. There's no talking in it, and
Yes.
and I also love that too. Like when she sees when Flynn gets her out on the boat, and there's and that just a magnificent scene with the lanterns,
Oh
um,
yeah,
Yes.
it's beautiful.
and a lot of that is, again, it's just this masterful animation and kind of acting with that character, um, of how she's responding to what she's seeing. Anyway, I just love Tangled. I
I
think
think one thing for me too is that, and I rank this higher than most people probably, but I want good environments. I want to be taken to a different place. I want to be in this beautiful setting. I want to really, and that's what I loved about, well, some of the other movies we talked about already, Encanto and Moana, for example. They have that beautiful kind of storybook forest. They have the
Hmm.
tower, the Rapunzel Tower, which
yes,
is super cool, like an inside and out. It's in that beautiful kind of canyon valley thing with waterfalls. The whole kind of the town with its castle, the water. I mean, they really did a good job crafting these environments that really just make you kind of want to sit back and just be in that setting. And we'll get to these other like films that we don't like so much, and I think that's where some of them went wrong. It's like, okay, this is not an environment that I really just crave to be in. Whereas Tangled, I really loved the setting of it.
Yeah, same. Just
Yeah.
classic, like fairy tale, but again, yeah, like just like this place you want to, this place you want to be, the place is where you want to go.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, and
I
there's
think,
something like mystical about it, but also something kind of grounding about it too, where
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like, there's these like floating lanterns and they're so magical. And then you're like, wait, no, like I actually was inspired to go to like a floating lantern event after I saw Tangled because I was
Oh, no
like, yeah,
way.
what?
have you
That is
seen,
kind of
did you
cool.
see
And
one,
it's
Lily? How was
not,
it? Did you?
it's magical. It's absolutely magical. Like it's just like the movie. I mean, it's literally like these floating lights in the sky. It's very, very cool.
I was inspired to
So
go to a little tavern in the middle of the forest and sing show tunes with a bunch of
absolutely, like thug
Which is a
show
bunch of
two
rough
thugs
singing
guys, yeah,
thugs.
bunch of tough guys with dreams.
and a mime.
I remember Enema. I when that first scene, that scene first came on the screen, when I saw it, I thought, oh, here we go. This is like we were doing okay up until this moment, and then I just
Yeah.
thought, oh, okay, this is they just ruined the whole movie. I hate this. This is going to be so bad. And then they did the whole thing, and the whole song and dance thing, and somehow it worked, and I loved it. And we often quote like some of the little one-liners from that scene. So again, it's just
True.
like those little the low expectations. You're pleasantly surprised that it's better than you would have expected.
I know we've got some counterpoint on this film, so we'll be getting to that in a bit, right?
Uh-huh.
Uh, all right, excellent, Mitchell. What have you got then? Is your number two?
All right, Zootopia is number 2, and that also was a little bit of a surprise to me because I don't think it's a perfect film by any measure. I think actually Big Hero 6, which we'll get to next, is probably a better film overall. However, Zootopia is one that we often turn on, and everybody in the family is like okay with it. The kids, different ages, okay, let's watch Zootopia. It's one that we put on the iPad when we travel, like on road trips and stuff. It's one that I really enjoy watching and seeing, like little things that I didn't catch in the previous times I watched it. It's got a lot of characters, a lot of animals, and I think that's part of the charm. Is you've got like this um, anthropomorphic. How do you say that?
Yep.
Anthropomorphic uh, cast of characters, these animals that are living like people. It's very much like the old Robin Hood from the 1960s. It's this great, really cool environment with these great characters and these little gags everywhere and these little kind of jokes that I normally kind of cringe at, most of those, and some of them are very cringy. But for the most part, it's a fun watch. It's a very, very enjoyable film to watch. In fact, Stan, you and and I think Lily, you were going to, but then you couldn't or something. We actually went to the Walt Disney Studios.
Yeah, we saw this
In
in the Walt
Yeah,
Disney Animation Studios building. Yeah,
yeah, we got to go in there before it was released. Like,
yeah,
and then that was really cool to
that
see
was cool.
where it was made before it was released and be invited to something cool like that. We also snuck onto
Okay, is
the Disney
I no,
lot.
maybe that's why you guys put this movie in your top three.
Does that
You have
explain
this
it?
fond memory of going out there and seeing it
This incredible day we had in the Walt. Yeah, and we got,
in your top three.
We like snuck around the lot for like half a day. Went to Walt's office. We couldn't get in; it was
we
closed.
couldn't get in, but we were in the building. Yeah, we were in the hall.
And then we ran into some people that were like they're on their way over to the office, and they were going to like tour the inside. And we're like, okay, we could either go with them because they have a way in, or we can go to this Zootopia like early showing. And we chose to do the original plan. But then we talked about it, like, okay, we could have seen Zootopia later,
You're right.
but we wouldn't have seen it in the studio. But we could have gone to Walt's office, whatever.
I
But yeah, it was a really,
know.
really cool day that we had.
Decisions. It was what a great day.
And I
We wish you were there, Lily. We really. You had been
and I'll
there.
never forget. And I don't want to steal your wonderful line that you gave us, Lily. But afterwards, you like when it first came out, after we had seen it, and then it like came out in theaters. Lily went and saw it, and she told us um, it's not a bad DreamWorks film.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's
And we were
exactly
cracking
right.
up because you're
Well,
not wrong.
exactly.
It's got a lot of the hallmarks of a terrible DreamWorks film. At the same time, I think it's done better, and somehow it just works in a way that the DreamWorks films generally don't work. But I am a fan of it because I think it's a fun, unique, creative, uh, neat environment where they have all the different kind of boroughs in the city of Zootopia. You have like the jungle, and you have the like polar bear ice area. You have the metro transit stuff. A lot of really cool transportation, which I'm a sucker for. I like to see just kind of how all these different animals live, and you've got the little the bunnies, you know, like tons of rabbits that live kind of out on the farm, and the little like I don't know, they're not mice, but little hamsters or whatever. You have all these different kind of like animals of different scales, and you got the big elephants, and you got the giraffes, and all that stuff. Um, all of that combined together makes for an enjoyable film, I think.
I love this film so much. It's in my top three too, which we'll get to. But uh, again, for all the reasons that you stated, Mitch. Also, I I love how this film is really. I mean, I think both adults and children can enjoy it, which is again is the hallmark of a really great Disney, I think, and Pixar film too. You know that it can be appreciated on different levels. But I think that the deft storytelling, because they're really talking about racism, you know, and the way that it's presented, again, they're not hitting you over the head with a hammer.
Yeah, yeah.
They're making you think, and in a good way though. I mean, they're presenting stuff in a way that you're not feeling like you're being an agenda is being forced upon you, but rather just a very interesting way to focus on some modern issues, you know.
Yeah,
And
I thought the same thing. They didn't push the agenda. There wasn't like politics really introduced at all. I mean,
not at all, yeah.
it's a good story for everybody, regardless of their political leanings, right?
And I can't believe too, that whole kind of stuff about the stuff they're growing. It felt like it was like an episode of Breaking Bad, like in a Disney film.
Yeah, and it just yeah, exactly.
But the Godfather's in there. I mean, all the stuff. It's just it's. I think it's so supremely clever, and such an excellent film. And I'm such a sucker for anthropomorphic animals. Well done. Because
Yeah.
they're not all done equally, but I thought Disney really nailed it with Zootopia.
So Lily, I'm curious. What are you doing over there as we talk? Are you just cringing?
I know, she's
Oh
like,
yeah, I'm
Are
just
you
like, I can't believe it. I can't believe what
are
you're
you in
saying right like
complete disbelief that we're saying any of these things?
oh
like,
my god, I'm like these pop culture references shoved in my face. Like next thing I know, I'm Breaking Bad reference in a Disney movie. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing here? Like, stop, stop.
yeah. No,
And I agree.
I hear you.
Generally
Absolutely.
we hate the three of us generally hate that kind of
We
stuff.
hate
Like
that. I know.
I don't know how it works in this film, but I think it does. And Lily clearly
I
doesn't
don't know
think.
what it does, but okay.
I know. Yeah, it's so interesting that it kind of goes against all the stuff that I get mad about. But I really love that. And again, I mean, truth be told, as you're saying, Mitch, maybe a portion of that is because we had a really cool experience when we got to see it for the first time. But still, I think it really holds up. I think it's a great film.
So Lily, what are
I
your
will say,
thoughts?
since we're saying the good things at this portion of the podcast,
At least
um,
this portion.
I will say I thought it was a funny film. And I really liked the scene with the sloths,
Oh,
mainly
the
because I love
DMV, yeah.
sloths.
Oh, the
But
DMV.
Oh,
yeah,
that was so funny.
the
That's so
DMV and the
funny. So
sloths, that was very
universal.
funny. And having Kristen Bell
In
play one of the sloths, I
experience.
mean, yeah,
Wait,
very
Kristen
funny.
Bell played the girl sloth?
Yeah, did you not know that?
No, I did not.
Oh,
That
that's
was
right. I had
genius.
forgotten about that.
Yeah, that was good. That was very good. But yeah, other than that, I really struggled with this film. I thought it was so hammy. And especially maybe for me, like it was like the expectations and then the letdown for me, because when John Lasseter announced, yes, like this is where, like, he made it sound like this was going to be a big nod to like Robin Hood around the
Yeah.
animals, and he tells this whole story about, like, animals wearing clothes I'm in, and so I think I just got so excited for this kind of potentially Robin Hood-esque film, and instead, I got this DreamWorks movie, which was, naked yoga instructors, and like,
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
it was, and Shakira and all, like, I was just like, I don't, and I love Shakira, like, but the film was, for me, it felt like just, it didn't fit together for me. It was too much. It was very, yeah, I felt the jokes were very DreamWorks. The pop culture references felt very over the top. So yeah, for me,
It's
yeah, yeah, it's
it's
in my
interesting
bottom
to
three.
I was gonna
It's
say
in
it's
my
the bottom
bottom three.
three. Yeah.
it's interesting when you say all that. Like I agree with all the things you say. Like I don't disagree with any of it because you're right.
Oh yeah.
It's
Lily is
just that
totally right.
I think that there's a level of enjoyment that like I get out of watching it that normally I wouldn't get out of that sort of film. For whatever reason, I think it's just like rewatchable. It's enjoyable to watch despite all of those things. I think it's like I don't know if I've maybe Stan, you're the same. I've kind of given myself permission to just to like embrace all that kind of wackiness, and instead of I don't know, for some reason I think it works. I'm not saying it's a perfect film by any means. In fact, I can name you know a dozen other films that happened in the 1950s and 60s and 70s that I like better. But for these 14 films, yeah, I think it ranks pretty high.
And it reminds you of when you wandered around the Disney Studios and almost
That's
broke into
true.
Walt's office.
All the other stuff we were checking out.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good time. All right, Mitch. What have you got for number three? Your number three.
This should be a short one because we covered it with Lily as well. Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
And I just, it's, we've said it before, but it just kind of has nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. It's, uh, and I'm not a huge fan of like the epic films, like the big, crazy, over the top, crazy action films. But I think this one isn't really too much in any way. It's the right amount of everything, and I think it's enjoyable. And I just really love all the characters.
Okay, question for you guys. How did you feel about the San Francisco overlay in California's Disney's California Adventure? How did you guys feel about that?
Stan, what do you think?
Well, I gotta tell you,
I'm
I
just gonna
was
sigh from Mitch.
skeptical. I was skeptical, and then I saw it, and I thought, I mean, DCA is such a problematic park anyway.
Yes.
Uh, Frankly, I felt it didn't hurt. That it was actually kind of fun to bring in some characters, and I feel like they freshened up the food offerings, and I thought the merch was fun. Frankly, my favorite part is what they've got on one of those fences that borders that little water area. This is the port of San Francisco, right out of the movie, and then lights up at night, and
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I kind of wish much of DCA just didn't exist in anyway before.
Yep.
but for whatever reason, I didn't mind it. Again, I hope I haven't lost my mind, but I didn't mind it. I didn't hate it.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. It just seems like a cheap overlay of an existing
Yeah, that's
area,
a good
which
point.
is exactly what it is. That bridge is kind of cool. The food improvements are great, but I don't think it really captured the coolness of the city that's in the film.
Yeah.
And I think at night maybe they can do more with the nighttime lighting, but It's good. I've always kind of liked that area a little bit. Like, they have the little. Do they still do the little tortilla thing? The little
You know,
walkthrough.
the
Last time I went
tortilla
there, they
thing.
were.
Well, you mean I think there's the sourdough thing with Rosie O'Donnell.
That's gone though, right?
No, that's still there. The tortilla thing got pulled. I think
Oh,
that got
that's what I'm
placed with
thinking.
the
You're right.
Giardelli
Oh,
ice cream
okay.
shop,
So I'm thinking, yeah, that was what got pulled. Yeah. So the bread thing.
and I think it's still there. And then clearly, I think they're still baking bread, but I don't know if you still can see Rosie O'Donnell tell you how they do it.
I'm okay not seeing Rosie O'Donnell.
I'd rather, yeah. So like swap that out, yeah. But
No, I'm with you on the DCA. Like, Disney California Adventure is so problematic.
yeah,
It's not the worst thing when they do this kind of thing to Disneyland. It's a lot more disturbing, I think. If you're going to take some beloved like area, like they did that with, well, we'll get to Princess and the Frog, but they did that with some of New Orleans Square and kind of try to put character kind of theming onto it. But with this one, it's California Adventure. It's kind of anything goes, and it needs
anything goes.
any kind of like improvement is an improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the same. I wasn't excited for it. I wasn't excited for the idea of it. But then, yeah, when I saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, I felt like the bridge was done well. I do
Yeah,
love the
the
neon
bridge is good. Yeah,
sign. I could do like I could use like a lot more like robots walking around and stuff like
Oh yeah.
that. No,
and
I
those
do.
little turbines. They have like one. Those fish turbines that are
Yes,
on top of the buildings and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
That are
that's what I
tethered to
was
the
gonna say.
buildings.
I feel like if they were gonna do it, they should have really gone for it. And
They did not
because
go for, yeah.
there's such cool imagery in the movie about like what this like Japanese American mashup thing could be. It's like the fact
Yes.
that they artistically didn't make that alive in it. I was a
Yeah.
little disappointed by that.
Just cheap, right? I mean, just as often this stuff is. It's just, yeah. I mean, like the
So,
overlay is the perfect way to put it, right? It's just kind of this, yeah, cost.
Did you guys try the Baymax bread? It's like in the shape of Baymax.
No, but I saw it.
no, is it good?
This
Looks pretty good, and they
this
have
is
the
it's the
little,
sourdough, right? Just that
yeah,
sourdough bread. Yeah,
it's like that San Francisco traditional kind of sourdough.
yeah.
And they got some merchandise that
Eugene.
they did, which is cool. It's like a lot of these films we're talking about don't have any merchandise, or they don't have any anymore. So it's cool to have. Like, my boys would love some Big Hero 6 merchandise.
Yeah. I thought the merch.
Yeah.
I thought I liked some of the merch. I thought it was clever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I give it a solid 6 for effort. I mean, it's all right.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely not like a 2, right, or something.
No,
Like
it's not like
yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
didn't
agree.
ruin like something that Walt built. They didn't ruin something that like
Yeah, that's
we
right.
all
Yeah,
grew
yeah.
up
yes,
with.
yes,
They didn't slap character overlay onto something that like is a classic thing that everybody remembers from their childhood. This is just like a corner of DCA that wasn't very well visited.
Yeah, I agree.
absolutely. All right. Well, excellent choices, Mitch.
Stan, what are your top 3?
Okay. Well, so
Yeah.
my number one, also just same with Mitch, is Tangled. For all the reasons that we've stated, absolutely love this movie. It's just really one of my favorites over the last 15 years, or it really is my favorite. Number one. Anything?
The 3 of us need to go to Tokyo Disneyland and go
Oh
to
man,
the new what are they calling it? The Fantasy Springs.
Fantasy Springs.
And they've got the Tangled ride, like a dark ride, a boat ride, right?
Yeah, it's a boat ride.
Yes. And
Yeah.
they have the lanterns, that whole scene. They have a lot of animatronics. And Tokyo does it right. So they did it. They did
They
a really good job.
do.
Yeah,
They
that
do.
lantern scene looks lovely. I also love how they've got the tower and
Yeah.
and Rapunzel up in the tower that you float by, but you can also see it right from the exterior of the ride. I think that's really, really
Unlike in Florida,
clever.
where the tower is just
The
basically
bathroom.
the restrooms for Fantasyland, for like that part of fantasy.
Because it's really well done in Florida, but I'm just thinking, dang, I wish there were like a ride rather than
Yeah.
like
If you want any like Tangled references, you got to go in the bathroom and look at the frying pans on the wall, and
the Flynn Rider wanted posters and stuff.
yeah, it just makes for a good dark ride, which they did in Tokyo Disney Sea.
Yeah, I think we definitely need a field trip. Now, I was hoping though, when just revisiting Tangled, I thought that Lily showed enormous restraint when we were heaping praise on it, because I remember back in the day when we had conversations with Lily about Tangled. So maybe, Lily, if you wouldn't mind kind of
Well, yes.
telling us how you really feel about Tangled.
So first of all, I will say I don't hate Tangled. Tangled was number 7 on my list, so right in the middle. I did put Tangled above Frozen. I My issue with Tangled is, and maybe it's similar to Zootopia, where I was hoping for something and I didn't get it. Because, I mean, for as long as I can remember, me and every girl that ever grew up on Disney has been waiting for Rapunzel to be a great Disney princess movie. And I mean, she's a classic princess. It's Cinderella, it's Sleeping Beauty, it's Rapunzel. Like, she's one of the main, classic iconic fairy tale stories of all time. And so, we're waiting for this great princess movie to come out, and we get this girl who's saying, "Don't freak out, okay?" Um, and it wasn't what I expected. I mean, the characters grew on me. Flynn Rider grew on me. Like, I feel like it wasn't a terrible movie, but I think that yeah, it was too much of that. It was too much of, and maybe to me also felt like it was the beginning of Disney feeling like they need to modernize. They need to modernize their princesses, and they need to make everything relevant, quote unquote, which I think for me kind of symbolizes a downward turn for Disney for me. And it's funny because Ed Catmull actually talked about this. It's funny, he and you guys were there. I think we all saw him
We
speak
all went
together.
together, yeah.
Yeah, and he said he actually blamed the title and the classicness of The Princess and the Frog on the fact that they like called it The Princess and the Frog, and that like it was bad for marketing and that they needed to make it more modern. So the fact that The Princess and the Frog had like a super weak storyline was not brought to anyone's attention apparently, and it was like the fact that it wasn't modern enough or relative enough. And so, then we see it more in Frozen and we see it more in all these other movies, and I just find that kind of disappointing because every little girl I know still watches Cinderella and Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, and they still love those movies that are just classic and beautiful and princessy. And I get it. There's this whole conversation about, our princess is weak or whatever, but I personally disagree with that perspective. I think that these women have standing power, and so it was kind of disappointing for me. I don't think Rapunzel needed to be sitting in a tower waiting for the prince to come along. I'm okay with sort of switching some of those things up, but you know I I didn't I don't know that I wanted her to be like a moody teenager either. So I think for me, again, I didn't think it was a bad film. I like the songs a lot. I like the animation. I like Gothel. There's a lot to like about the film. The glowing hair was really cool. The animation on that was really cool. Um, but yeah, those were my hangups about it.
Well, I appreciate you sharing those, Lily, because yeah, I remember we talked about those too. So thank you for bringing up all those things. It's kind of a I had wondered, and we'll say, I frankly doubt. I don't know if they'll ever, if they make another kind of princess movie or whatnot. They're not going to use the princess's name, are they? It's going to be Tangled and Frozen, and as we mentioned all these other
Yeah.
Yeah,
things. Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of
I
over, and it kind of makes me sad.
yeah, because Tangled in a way too. I mean, just as you were saying, but it's it's like a romantic comedy rather than a princess movie, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah.
almost got like, it's got these two main characters really, and not just Rapunzel. And thankfully, I think they did a really nice job with Flynn Rider, but it's not Rapunzel, right?
Well, it was there was a lot of talk of it being like the anti-princess movie, right? There was a princess movie that
Yeah.
was kind of not the princess movie with the you're gonna give the prince a little bit more character and for the boys to watch for the boy audience you're gonna give her a little bit more feistiness. She's not just gonna do what she's told. She's gonna kind of be a little more edgy and stuff. Which is those aren't bad things, but you said that Lily, you mentioned that it was kind of perhaps a downward spiral when you start to get a little too modern, contemporary, kind of a little bit too. You start to throw in a bunch of kind of trendy, fad kind of things into a period piece, and it doesn't age
Yeah,
well. It just ages poorly. Which Zootopia, like we were talking about, that case in point. I don't know how well Zootopia is going to age, and in some ways, I think Aladdin aged terribly in those weird, a lot of references that don't hold up.
yeah.
You
Like
know,
the last release of it, it had an explanation video in the bonus features. It was
did
like
it really?
yes,
Who was Arsenio Hall? And
right. It talks about who's William F. Buckley, and
and
I
a
mean all this
Rodney
stuff.
Dangerfield like
Yeah,
reference, and yeah,
exactly, which cracked me up because I'm like, yeah, I mean, you need it if you weren't, if you didn't
if you
know.
didn't grow up in the
Yeah,
'90s,
yeah,
and I think that's where Tangled kind of skirted that line in a good way. I think they could have gone that way a lot further. And I think that was the fear of a lot of us. And then I go in there going, oh, okay, they're not doing a bunch of like, they're not doing, Taylor Swift jokes or Katy Perry references or whatever they could have done. They kind of steer clear of that. But at the same time, the dialogue and everything is a little bit kind of the way kids talk these days, and that's a little bit, yeah, not my favorite.
yeah,
Yeah. I feel like kind of to your guys' point is both Princess and the Frog and Tangled for me felt like Disney feeling like they needed to respond to the
Yeah,
criticism of the world. And it's like, okay, let's have, entangled, the dad's gonna die this time, and we're gonna have an American princess, and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Like everything, like she's gonna be hardworking, and like the prince is gonna be the deadbeat, and like it's just like, and it's almost like it feels like they tried too hard to like answer to that rather than like really care for the story. And I
yeah,
felt Tangled like a little bit less so, um, because I think that the things that they did, like the fact that she has two parents that are great, like kind of to what you guys said earlier. I mean, the scene, like they say, nothing in this film, and yet they're so powerful in their presence and how much they care for her and how much they still search for her. It's like very, very touching.
hmm
Um, and I'll also say, I think they're very much trying to say like, well, yeah, maybe she has parents, and maybe, there's not a problem with them. They just love their daughter and that's it.
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
So, in some ways I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I think it also has to, one thing that I think Pixar does a little better than Disney, and I know we're going to get this later, but story is always king for Pixar. Story is the absolute first thing that matters, and then the other things kind of come into play afterwards. I think Disney can lose sight of that a little bit.
yeah. Definitely. In these past many, 10, 20 years, they've absolutely lost sight of that many times.
yeah. One final comment about Tangled too. What do you both think about the whole kind of romantic comedy element of it? That basically Flynn and Rapunzel really kind of playing off of each other. Again, in kind of a classic romantic comedy way. At least that's how I view it. Do you view it that way? And if so, or how do you see it? And is it something that you like, or what's your take?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, you've got You've got the criticism about the old princess movies was that it's kind of, I don't know. You got Sleeping Beauty, and it's kind of these, I don't know, that their interactions with each other are a little bit more stiff, and this one's kind of playful, and they kind of have to get to know each other, and I don't know. There's the little journey of the relationship is actually pretty appealing, I think.
I agree with that. I think it worked for me as well. I didn't love the beginning of it when, she's like having her mood swings and she's like, I'm the worst daughter. I'm free. Like you're just kind of
Oh
there,
yeah,
you know,
when she leaves the tower.
yes.
Yeah.
But to see kind of where that sort of goes, and they're both kind of dynamic characters. These are both kind of coming of age stories for both of them. And I think it does a good job of playing with the theme of trust too. Like these are two people that have never really counted on anyone except for, with Rapunzel, it was like, Gothel, and with him, he's kind of out for himself.
Hmm.
And so when they kind of come together at a point where they decide to trust each other, and then that trust seemingly gets broken when Rapunzel sees Flynn Rider, you know, off, sailing off in the boat. I thought that's a really great moment, where then, that kind of gets, reconciled in the film. So I thought that was actually really good storytelling.
And they don't immediately fall in love with each other like, oh, a handsome prince, oh, a
Right.
beautiful princess.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more like they don't know who each other are. Like he doesn't know that she's a princess. He's not even like there for her. He's just trying to get his satchel or whatever, and she's just completely not expecting him at all. Never really interacted with other people, and so it's believable. I think because it's that kind of romantic comedy, uh, that kind of relationship that kind of has to grow over time. It's not this instant like, oh, we're meant to be together. They have to kind of figure that out.
Yeah. Okay,
It's
so for
definitely
my number two, I and maybe this is a
you
bit of a cop
cheated.
out. I know,
You cheated on
like
me.
cheater.
You did two for
Absolutely
number
cheated.
I
two.
have a tie, and there's a method to
Not
my
allowed.
madness. Now, I honestly I had the heart because I respect and really actually love both of these films a lot. One of the interesting things to me, and one of the things I still am in awe of, is both of these films came out in 2016. So the team at Disney Animation, was working on both of these films concurrently, and they're I think two of the best films they've made in the modern era. Again, as we discussed, it'd be very different, from each other, but still so good in all the ways that we've already talked about. Uh, so unique. Anyway, I still can't believe that they accomplished that. I feel like that's also a real high point for Disney Animation before they've taken kind of a real crash, which is
Uh-huh.
coming, which is coming. But anyway, that's kind of the method for me. Is they came out the same year. I love them both, and I really couldn't pick between the two. Honestly, I mean, I think Zootopia still in a way has a bit of an edge just for me, and maybe again it's because of that tour that Mitch and I, the data Mitch and I had. But
Absolutely. That is
but
absolutely it.
but also though I again just for all the stuff you talked about, but that it's so subversive and it does all the stuff that I typically hate in films, but for me it totally works. I really love Zootopia. I think it's so good, and then Moana just knocks my socks off every time I see it. So good. Okay, now my number three. When I think this is where I'm going to get hate mail, and this is where we're going to I think have a discussion. I hope this will be
Oh,
my
I'm
friends.
ready. I'm ready.
So I picked Frozen. It was between Big Hero 6 and Frozen for number three, and it was hard. It was a hard decision. I ultimately went with Frozen, and I think I went with Frozen because the whole time I was watching Wish, which I know is coming up here in our discussion, but I kept wishing that Wish had good songs, like had a songwriter that really could deliver. And
Yeah.
I think actually I quite like the story of Frozen, and I know Frozen's got a lot of baggage just because it became such a juggernaut. It was so popular that it was too much, right?
Yeah.
Too much Frozen in the parks, just Frozen everywhere, and I know everybody got sick of it. Um, but I gotta tell you, again, I mean, I don't have a kid, so I mean, it's not like it was on like nonstop playing at my house. But like anytime Let It Go comes on, I I like it. So again, shielding myself for
Yeah.
all the hate I'm gonna get from all the hate mail I'm gonna get. But I think Frozen has terrific animation, great story, great characters. Uh, I think the songs are fantastic, and just a colossally entertaining film. And I think I'm amazed at its popularity, but then again, I think it earned it because I think it's a really quality. It's a quality film in my opinion.
I like the film for its. I like some of the music and the animation. I like the characters. I like the story overall. I could live without Olaf. To be honest, that's like I can live. I could probably enjoy the movie better if there was no Olaf at all.
I still want
But
my Olaf spinner ride, Mitch.
Oh, geez. Oh,
Mitch,
my goodness.
Mitch drew the coolest thing for me.
uh,
Yeah,
Olaf spinner ride. I
the
think,
big Olaf with
and then Olaf is fine, I guess, in the film, but then they just overdid it with him everywhere else, and
yeah. It was
um,
again just like that Frozen. It was Frozen overkill,
yeah,
right?
it was a little overkill. It's I don't know. It's not a bad movie. It's just kind of in the middle of my list. It's not the worst.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it doesn't become a Broadway musical because it's a crappy story with crappy songs.
Yeah.
It has staying power, similar to all the other things. I don't love the modernization of it. Uh, and I think for me also, it was another letdown moment because, and maybe I'm just like a classic fairy tale person. I mean, I used to literally read classic fairy tales when I was a kid, and I
Yeah,
really loved the stories. And
and you know the
so,
stories. I mean, Lily knows these stories.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
Back
and
you
and
so
definitely.
forward. Yeah,
I was bummed to come into this film and see like almost no resemblance. And I know Disney films are notorious for that, but I mean, this was particularly notorious for that. I mean, the fact that Elsa's a good person instead of a bad person is completely counter to the story.
Oh, is
And
she
really
bad in the?
Barbie,
Is she
the
in
yes,
the
Snow
she's the
book?
Queen is
villain.
bad,
Oh, is she the
She's
isn't
the
Snow
Snow
she,
Queen?
Lily?
Queen. And she's an
Yeah.
absolutely great villain. She's so scary and she's so,
Are they sisters in
and
the
she's
book?
kind of beautiful and
I don't think they're
no.
sisters in the original story, the Hans
So
Christian Andersen.
you can kind of see how this evolves from the original story because there's two kids and there's like this shard um glass and like this like and the glass is like cursed and one of the shards of glass like ends up in one of the kids' eyes. And so I think because I actually do think Elsa originally was supposed to be a villain and then
Yeah,
this
I think
kind
she
of
was. That's
evolved.
my
So
understanding.
I'm gonna guess like Anna and Kristoff were probably originally supposed to be like kind of the twins, but then it was like probably, and there's a reindeer in the original story that's kind of an important part of the story. So I think that they kind of took elements of the original story and then they were like, okay, and maybe like this is a story about sisters now. It was like, okay, well that's a pretty big twist, but you can also see like how much it changed. Um, there's a scene in the very beginning of the film where Anna and Hans have their first little flirtatious encounter, and they flip over the boat, and he's in the water, and she's actually walking away, and he looks back at her like longingly and like sighs like lovingly at her. So at the point that they animated that scene that he still wasn't supposed to be a bad guy, and it wasn't
Really?
until later in the development in the film that they're like, oh, and then like okay, maybe if Elsa's not ever going to be a bad guy, then like, well, let's make Hans the bad guy. Like, he could suddenly be a bad guy. And that choppiness for me shows up in the film. Like, it's sort of like, okay, well, no, wait, now this guy's the bad guy. And then, like, okay, so they are kind of in love, but then they're not because, oh, of course, Disney princesses couldn't fall in love that fast. No. So now he's the bad guy, and sort of like, it just feels kind of weird to me, sort of like jumbled up in that way. And then, like, the little, uh gnome trolls, where
Yeah,
and like
kind of
like
random. Yeah.
like they give advice. There's that really viral uh video that kind of pokes fun at the fact that these trolls absolutely give good advice, and then the parents do nothing more than like lock their daughter in a tower, and like sort of like, what, how did we get to where we were locking her in a tower? Like, I don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So I just feel like the story doesn't hold up for me. I just think it's full of holes, and so that's why it's hard for me. It's good songs, and it's hard to not take my little 6-year-old nieces to the Broadway musical and have their cute little eyeballs glued to Elsa and her sparkling dress. So, I give it an applaud for that. Like, these characters won the hearts of every little girl in the world. So,
They
so
certainly
Boy,
did. I'll
I
tell you that.
mean, just unreal.
I,
Yeah.
I gotta say, my favorite thing about the Frozen films is Arendelle, the
Oh yeah.
kingdom, right? The cool castle and the green hills, and just kind of that whole thing. It's just great. Going back to the environment conversation, cool, that cool mountain in the background. I'm a big fan of the Arendelle thing.
yeah.
Um,
It also
and-
is fun to see like the ice and the snow, and like that's really not been done before
yeah,
this, where
they
it's
did that
like,
well.
yeah, we're not going to do tropical, we're going to do like icy and this like Norwegian with like the fluffy um fuzzy edges of hats and coats, and like the animation was so cool, and I thought that was fun.
Yeah,
You know, you bring up a good point about the Arendelle environment, because that's what's been recreated, right, in some Disney parks. Uh, I, I know we've talked about this, although I'm not sure we've talked about it on a podcast, but does Frozen belong in Epcot?
nope, it does not.
That would be no. Although they did a really good job.
They
I
did a
think
good
I think that's what we
job.
talked about. Yeah.
Sadly, they did a good job because
Yeah.
it's yeah. I mean, but they take out something, a fan favorite, with the Norway Pavilion and the Maelstrom boat ride and everything. But then they executed it well, and did they get rid of those stupid projection faces? I think they were
I'm
going.
not sure they did at Epcot. However, the new rides in Asia, I believe they have
Oh yeah, in Hong Kong and
an
Tokyo. Yeah,
animatronic face. Yeah,
those animatronics look really good
they
over
look
there
really good.
from the
Yeah,
videos I've seen. Um,
yeah, ditto.
yeah, I like the whole Norwegian thing, like kind of the the style of that whole kind of like region of the world, and they just recreated it really in a really good way. It's like it's very storybook esque. It's very
Yeah.
it's quite nice.
The
Yeah.
and then that Fantasy Springs, right? Isn't there's a Frozen area in it? Isn't
Yes,
there? Yeah.
yes.
And I believe it's Hong Kong Disneyland, right? That has
Hong
like a
Kong has the
Frozen.
whole
It
Arendelle
looks really
area,
beautiful. At
really
least the stuff
nice.
that I've seen on YouTube, right? I was just like, wow,
Yes,
that looks really great.
yeah, we got to go there too on a field trip.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and yes.
Gonna start booking all these trips we're gonna go
I
on.
Yeah,
know. We gotta
gee.
get crack in here. Okay, so Lily, let's now talk about your bottom three of your list of the last 15 years of Walt Disney Animation Studios films.
Okay, the third worst movie of this period, which I've already destroyed on this podcast now. Zootopia, yeah. Zootopia is, yeah, definitely not the worst. There are two worse than
I was gonna say
Zootopia,
there's two more
but
that
but
are
definitely near the bottom
still
for
bottom three,
yeah.
kind of, yeah. Kinda,
So yeah, for the reasons I outlined for sure. The second to last is Strange World. Um, and I'll say there are things I like about Strange World. There are, I kind of like this sort of generational story. I kind of like, this idea of, kind of asking the question of like, who is our heritage and like, do we all inherit different, interests in those sorts of things? And like, do those things get honored and brought out, but in unique ways with each generation? I thought that there was some
Yeah.
interesting storytelling around that. Um, and I wasn't out like I was in the next one that I'll talk about, where I was like, I don't know that I can sit through the
So
rest of this. I wasn't that way on Strange World. I was still watching, I was still interested, and I know that people get kind of like frustrated if they feel like an agenda is being thrown down their throats, but I kind of liked this idea of talking about the ecosystem of the world, and sort of this idea of like everything does work together, and having like the kid kind of be the person who draws that out and says, look, this is an ecosystem.
and it was
And
done in an interesting way, like with those plants with the
yeah.
electricity and the glowing and all. They did it in a way that it wasn't too heavy handed. It was actually kind of pleasant. And for the record, I think we should state this right now. All three of us had that as our second to
It's
worst, second to
it
last
is.
worst film,
We
and
all
then we
have that.
all three of us, without
There was
coordinating on
no
this,
coordination. Yeah.
yeah, we all put that at number 13, and then we all put number 14 the same as well. So
It's the same.
our,
Yeah.
our bottom two for all three of us are identical.
It's
So
the same.
we could kind of cover, I think, all three of us while we talk about these. Strange World,
Yeah.
uh, yes, Lily, I'm with you, because there's a lot of potential in this film. There's a lot of really cool things that happen in this film. There are a lot of things that I really, really liked, and I really, really wanted to love the movie. I thought, okay, they kind of like have a different style of character, like the design of the characters is a little bit different, and I liked it. I thought it was a good kind of aesthetic approach going into that strange world, that kind of very abstract kind of alien world where everything's kind of alive and it's colorful and everything. That has
Hmm.
had a lot of potential, and I think there are a lot of really good things that ended up in the film. um, I didn't think it was too heavy handed with the agenda, um, because that's annoying. But I do think sometimes they they sacrifice story a little bit too much when they are putting
Hmm.
the priority over story. Sometimes ends up being how are we going to fit this and that and the other with the social agenda and everything. So um, it, and story should never take a back seat, I think, to anything.
Yeah.
Um, and that's I think there this was a film that probably would have really um, done better if they had 6 more months of story time. And Disney
Yeah.
doesn't do that. It doesn't seem. Maybe they do a little bit. Pixar is known to do that like a couple of times, where they just like, okay, we're going to give it another whatever period of time to really iron out the story. And this is one that I think they could have gotten there if they had given it a little bit more time to just make it just that much better. They could have really
Hmm.
made a wonderful film, but instead it's a film that I don't hear a lot of people talking about. I didn't hear a lot of people really loving it in the beginning. It's got really talented people working on it, and great director. Everybody like on the crew seemed to be really, really good. Somehow it just didn't come together in a way um, that worked super well, which is a real shame, because I think the premise is actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I agree. I think the premise is incredibly cool. In fact, I was so excited for this movie. I just thought,
Yeah.
what a cool idea to have this adventure movie. They're going to some, unknown place, and with it, the character designs were so interesting. And I really, just like you were saying, Lily, I really love that generational stuff. That both of these characters got to figure out what's going on with their parents and the relationship, that they've got that they have.
Yeah.
with their parents and with their dads, and I thought that was really really interesting, but still overall it's kind of a missed opportunity when we finally get the reveal about where they are too.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
like,
Hmm.
I don't know. It didn't seem like, instead of this big wow moment, it's just like, oh, okay, whatever. Um, I don't know. For me, it just seemed very underwhelming rather than like, really, really cool. And I think you bring up a really good point, Mitch, is that I think that the story took second place to a social agenda, and I know we got to treat everything and everyone with respect, but I didn't think that in the context of this film that it worked.
Yeah, and I think along with that, like you didn't put the story first, similar to Frozen, where it feels like, and I haven't actually done the research on this, but in Frozen, I know I'm right that they were changing the story even last minute, but this one feels that way a lot to me. It's like, okay, so now this person's now they're kind of a villain, but now they're not a villain. It's like, okay, everyone kind of has these different agendas, but we're not really sure. And that particularly shows for me with the Indiana Jones references. Like we start out this film with like full blown like Indiana Jones typeface. We have the black and white film strip, just like we're on, Indiana Jones and the Temple of
Yes.
Doom. And like, so you're doing this Indiana Jones thing until you're not.
Yeah.
And
Right,
that
and then
never shows up for the
it
rest of the film
fizzles
until the
out.
credits.
Yeah.
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 So you're just sort of like, oh, I
I mean,
don't,
even
okay.
the logo of the film was in like an
Yes.
Indiana Jones style font,
Yes.
and
Yes.
yeah, it's just a missed opportunity.
I like
That was weird.
there was some cool things with the hovering vehicles. They kind of look like old tractors and
Yes.
trucks and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
they were flying, and the whole farm thing where like one of the main characters, the son of the adventurer, the long lost explorer, he's uh, discovered this energy source and this plant, and so he's farming this plant, and that whole kind of thing, like this kind of like old style like farming genre meets kind of futuristic flying car. It was a good combo of everything. It seemed to be really cool, and I would have liked to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
So once again, every kind of little piece of the movie had such potential, I think. And then I'm not sure that the whole was equal to the sum of its parts. Unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
it's sad. I just wish, I don't know. I don't want to blame management for everything, but sometimes the filmmakers, if they were to say, look, we're getting there, but we're just not. It's just not right. Can we
Yeah.
just can we just push out the release date or whatever? And that's
Yeah.
that's like a really scary thing for the guys on top, right? They're not
Right.
going to want to delay some like Thanksgiving release or summer release or something. But sadly, then you
Still,
get a film that's not that great.
yeah. Can we blame
Yeah.
Bob
And
Chapek for this too?
Yes, can we just blame him for everything?
but also like because it was a good idea.
It
Like
was.
I'm kind of
Absolutely. It's
watching
a
this and I'm like,
really
like
cool
this is a
idea.
really, yeah, this fleshy world that we're living in. And like, it was interesting. And yeah, it just, it didn't go far enough. They didn't go all the way.
You know, Mitch, I know we've talked about this, and I'm not sure where you stand on this, Lily, but I know Mitch and I both love those art of books that Chronicle Books
Yes.
publishes. And so I
Mm,
get them all, even if I don't like the movie, I get the book if they make one, and they have the one for Strange World, and the book is, if in this case, the book is definitely better than the movie. Like, isn't that the
yeah.
case in a lot of, but just
Beautiful
Yeah.
because
work. Yeah.
you get to just see this beautiful art that that some of it made it to the screen, and plenty of it didn't, and but to understand the ideas and where they were coming from was really helpful, because they gave some background to the story. But again, I agree with you. I disagree with everything that you were saying, is that the story really took second seat, and if it was just because maybe they had to adhere to this release date or whatever the case was, but it was sad because it's a missed opportunity in the film, and final result was bad. Hence why it's where it is on all three of
All
our
three of us.
lists.
Yeah.
Second to last.
Yep. Well, should
Okay.
we get to the
I
last?
think before we get to the last one, since the last one is the last, also the last on all of our lists, I think you guys should do
Okay,
your your third choice that you know
I
that's
like
Four-
it.
the first of the worst, the
Right,
first of the worst
the
on
first
your
of the
list,
worst.
and then we
All
can just
right.
go nuts on this last one.
After
Wait,
you get
so
it,
we're doing like fourth to last?
third to
No, you're
last.
third to
Third to
last.
last.
Oh, the third to last. Okay,
Yes,
you
so
want me to
number
go?
12 on your list. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. So for me, it was Frozen 2. Um, we haven't talked about sequels very much because, strangely enough, there aren't really any sequels in this list except for Frozen 2. Right? Am I missing any?
Wreck-It,
Oh, right.
There's
Oh,
no
yeah.
Wreck-It
Disney
Ralph.
Okay. So you
animation.
have two
Yeah.
Wreck-It Ralphs and you have two Frozens. I
You can
think,
make an argument for Winnie the Pooh, I think, probably.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, sure. The
A reboot, maybe it's more of a
Yeah, it's kind of a
Yeah.
reboot.
reboot, and
Reboot.
I think it was
Yeah,
done in the right kind of way, right spirit of things.
I agree.
But it's
Yeah,
not. It's in the middle of all of ours, so it doesn't even hit the bottom or the top. So
Yeah.
sadly,
yeah.
we can't talk about that much. But the sequel to Frozen to me had everything that was annoying about the first film, like amplified, like magnified in the second film. It did a kind of stupid little Olaf moments and just kind of these tired gags and just manufactured drama that I didn't really buy into. And it's just, I think, and maybe this is just like knowing too much of kind of the behind the scenes stuff and what they were going through. As animation fans, we read about these kind of the hardships that the animators go through and the directors go through and the company and all the kind of like the battles that happen behind the scenes before the film comes out. So to me, it just screamed, hey, let's pump out a sequel as fast as we can because the first one was so successful. We just got to keep pumping these out and we can make this into this like big old franchise. We can do, we can do 10 of them if that makes sense, if it's going to keep making money. And it just had a lot of the unfortunate hallmarks of sequels in general, like bad sequels. That said, and this is kind of a little shout out to computer generated sequels. I really like watching a sequel of a Pixar film or a Disney film if it's computer generated because it's going to look better than the original, even if the story's
Mhm.
not as good, and even if the whole movie itself is just worse than the first one, it's going to have like that much better production value, which wasn't necessarily the case with traditional hand drawn animation. But with this, we see like go back and look at Toy Story 1 and then
Oh
Toy
wow.
Story
Yeah.
4. You go
Holy
back
smokes.
to Finding Nemo, we thought was just the most beautiful thing ever. Like the whole world thought that. But then you compare it to Finding Dory, and it's night and day. The rendering and the lighting and the textures and the shadows and everything, reflections, way better. I mean, the technology gets better and better and better. And sadly, the story um, stuff generally seems to be getting worse in certain ways, but the look and feel. So, as for Frozen 2 or any other of these sequels, there's some really kind of cool like visuals to enjoy, but I just couldn't really get into the story and the whole thing. Yeah.
You bring a really good point, Mitch, because I feel like it was a really like a forced sequel. You know,
Yes.
I have it ranked a little higher, which kind of surprises me. I'm gonna have to really rethink my review my thinking. But there was enough I liked about it. I thought the songs were strong, and
Yeah.
I love Elsa's water horse. I thought that was like the coolest
Oh
thing
yeah,
ever.
the water horse was
Mhm.
neat.
Yeah.
But still, uh, the story's really convoluted. It's just like
Yes.
what, like
Very,
what is
very.
happening, and
Yes.
yeah. So definitely some issues. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's there's some good things about it, but yeah, that story was just really all over the place.
Yep.
And again, I think that they get the criticism, like who are these parents that locked daughter in a tower, and then it's like, well, they're actually a ghost that still lives and still cares about Elsa
Oh,
and is going
gee.
to call her. And it feels like, okay, you're trying too hard on this. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like I still didn't have warm fuzzies at the end of the film. I'm not like, oh, I feel a mother's love now at the end of this film. I was sort of like,
No, I didn't either. I was just like, wow,
okay,
I love that
like,
water horse. Is what I was thinking.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think there were like pieces of like when Elsa, like tells Anna she can't come and like forces her away with her snowy magic and things like that, that you're sort of like, okay, like, why did that happen? Like, are we not, didn't we get to the sisterly love part? Like,
Yeah.
they were kind of in this together and now they're not because Elsa's on her own, and then like we're okay with that at the end of the film, or like what? Um, so yeah, I think that there's just a lot of pieces, and even just like the fact that there's this whole other world with this whole other people, and they're just sort of like, okay, like I'm trying to get on board, but I'm also just like, what's happening now? Like,
Yep.
who are these people? Like, what's going on? Just
Yeah.
sort of confused the whole
Yeah.
film.
I think there are a lot of convenient plot twists, like,
Good
and I
point,
and I love that when they're just like, oh no, we're in a really terrible situation. How are we ever going to get out of it? Oh, there's the answer right there, like coincidentally. And I thought, and I don't know if the word random is the right thing, but a lot of the films of recent years, like animated films, especially from all the major studios, suffer from that. And I thought the first Frozen had some of that, but then the second one definitely had more. And I'm not a big fan of Pixar. They used to say, and I don't know if they still say it, but they'd say you can get a character in a bind through a coincidence, but you cannot get them out of a bind through a coincidence. It can't
Mm,
because like
yeah.
it's a lot more believable that they got into a predicament with something like kind of unexpected and random, and but when you're trying to get them out of the situation, if you do it too fast and you do it with like such a crazy coincidence, like just everything lines up in an unbelievable way, it doesn't land well with audiences. And I feel like they've gotten a little lazy with that lately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe the thing that kind of points to this experience that I'm having of like the choppiness of it. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you hadn't really thought through this story before you started drawing stuff. And now we don't know where we are. Like we don't know. So you just sort of kind of did this to get us from point A to point B because you didn't think it through very well.
Yes. I feel choppiness is a good word. Like the choppy, you use the word choppy a couple times, and I think that's perfect
I do
for this
too.
film.
It's apt. Yeah, absolutely. All right.
What's
Um,
yours,
Well,
Stan?
so
You've
my
got
my number 12 then, for the top of
yeah.
my bottom three, it's The Princess and the Frog. And
Uh
again, shielding myself from all the hate probably going to get
huh.
for that.
it
But
does kind of hurt my heart a little bit that
well,
this is
I'm
so
anxious to talk
far
to
Oh.
you
down your
about it,
list as it
Lily.
is.
Well, and I really do want to hear your perspective on it, because for me, it's just what we've been talking about. It's all about the story. I thought that this there's so much to like in The Princess and the Frog. Particularly, I think Tiana is really a fantastic character.
Yeah.
Uh, I really like her. I think uh, I like her tenacity. I like how hard she works. Uh, there's just so much I like about her. I just think that I'm kind of bummed that she spends half the film as a frog, and then also
Yeah, I agree.
um, there's just some real story that I just have real story problems with it. I think that whole frog hunting sequence that's probably only like 7 minutes, but it seems to go on for about 20.
With
Um,
with like the swamp, like
the
the
swamp, yeah, have those kind of doofuses in the swamp. They're trying to catch the frogs, and then um, you know, why does Ray have to die? I mean, Ray the Firefly.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, it's
it's
sad.
true. Yeah.
And it just anyway. Uh, I just but then there's some stuff that's really sublime. I think the music's good. It's so fun that there was hand drawn animation again,
Yeah,
brought back, brought back into the Disney fold. And I think that whole sequence with Mom Odie is really good.
Mhm.
I I think Dr. Facilier, I like it that he's just a villain, that he's not like some. It's not like, we talked about like with Hans, who like we don't really find out he's the
Complicated.
villain
Yeah.
until 3/4 of the way through the movie. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know, the voodoo stuff's also kind of dark. You're
that's true.
too. So again, not that you can't handle it, or that is because he should be scary, right? That's the point. But I don't know. I had real issues with the story, particularly in the third act of the film. It's like, oh my gosh, let's just please be over. Um, but anyway, so that's really why I have it lost, because I just don't care for the story.
So what do you think? You seem to enjoy the story and the film itself.
No, I agree that the story is weak, and I also was very disappointed to see her turn into a frog in like the first 5 seconds of the film. But um, it really should have been a story of her and the frog. They're not both frogs. It's the princess and it's the
And the
frog.
frog,
It's not the princess is the frog. So that
yeah,
was probably the weakest part of the entire story. Like why did, and I think that they, yeah, again, it's kind of these thoughtless things where it's like, well, how are we going to get both these people in a swamp traveling through? You just do it. You figure it out. Like she doesn't have to turn into a frog in order to make that work.
right.
Um, and so, yeah, I thought that was very disappointing. And also I know a lot of people feel endeared to Ray. I wasn't actually super endeared to him and his like
To
love affair with the star.
the redneck firefly. You didn't.
Yeah, right. Firefly.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that literally did cry, like with Ray, but like I am, yeah, I was kind of like, huh, okay, you love the star, okay, that's
Yeah. I
cute, I
mean, that
guess.
kind of is cute. I mean, they're both become stars, right? I mean, that is no question.
Yeah,
Kind
people
of
love that. People
kind
love
of a
the two.
happy
Yeah,
ending to that. Although I still am just like, oh, you bring up a
Yeah,
good point
it
though, because
didn't
yeah,
for
he's not that
me.
great of a character.
It didn't hit the heartstrings for me. I was
Yeah,
just like,
yeah,
okay, okay. So those are the things I didn't like about it, but the songs are fantastic.
yeah. The songs really are
Um,
great.
I love the tribute to New Orleans. I think that that's very fun, and it really hadn't been done before. And I thought sort of the jazz vibe and the southern vibe and like all of that I thought was fun.
mm-hmm.
Um, I think this film has some of the best voiceover work of all the Disney films. I think um, Annika Noni Rose, her voice is
Oh,
incredible, and
I
the
love
songs sound
her. Yeah, I was gonna
amazing.
say I love Tiana. I really do love Tiana.
Keith David as Dr. Facilier. I mean, I've
Terrific.
probably listened to that song like 500 times because just like his voice and like how rich and like how much flavor there is to that song. I just think
The
it's
isn't
so
are you
good.
ready, or what's it called?
Yeah. Friends on the other side, I think,
Oh
is
yeah,
that
yeah,
Yeah, I've got friends on the other side.
yeah,
He's got like that rumbling
yeah.
voice,
His voice is
that
great.
low voice. Yeah,
So maybe, that scene didn't feel as dark to me because maybe I just thought the whole time I'm like, wow, this voiceover is amazing. Like this is such good voiceover work. So I really like that. And yeah, the Mama Odie, I just think that was really a fun, and I think there's just some really good messaging here.
yeah. The
I think
messages
that
are really
it's,
good. Yeah,
yeah, so it's not a perfect film. And again, the 2D, I know you already said that, but like the 2D animation, I think that's the thing that actually hurts my heart about this film again, is like we got our 2D animation back. We got, like the Princess and a Frog. We got the classic Storytell title. And the fact that it was a super weak storyline sort of, I feel like then ruined 2D animation for us, so that
Yeah.
kind of makes me sad because, I think the animation's great. I think it looks really good. So I'm sad that it's so rare to see that as a medium.
So there was a lot of talk about during this time, like a little bit before this film, that the 2D films, the traditional hand drawn films, were not appealing to audiences anymore. Like audiences didn't want to go to them, or they only wanted to see the CG stuff. And then Roy O. Disney, he was saying before he died, he said it's not that it's the medium that people don't like. It's not like they dislike the hand drawn medium anymore. It's that these hand-drawn films that the people are making are just not good, and it just so happens to be that the computer-generated films are much better. And so there was I think an unfair conclusion that was drawn by Disney and other studios that, like, oh, people don't want this anymore because Princess and the Frog didn't. It wasn't a smash hit. It was like,
No.
unfortunately, it
Yeah.
wasn't like a crazy runaway success. It wasn't like super unsuccessful, I don't think, but
Yeah, I don't think it was a bomb by any means, but yeah, but it was not like a runaway hit.
well, here's some, yeah, exactly, and here's some a little bit of insight for your listeners, Stan. And this is probably not well known. I've really never heard it except for the time that the three of us, I believe the three of us, went to a speech by Ed Catmull. He
Yep.
came and spoke to an audience about. He was the head of Pixar at the time. He was the president of Pixar for many years. Before he retired, he wrote a book called Creativity Inc., which is phenomenal.
It's a
And
great book.
somebody asked him about the hand drawn because uh, going back to the acquisition of Pixar by Disney, when Disney back in whenever 04 or whatever, they bought Pixar. Disney bought Pixar, and then they promoted Catmull to be the president over both animation studios. And so people were asking him, "Hey, why don't we see any more traditional hand drawn, like the 2D animation?" And he says, "You know what? We let our directors choose what they want. If they want to do, CG, or they want to do hand drawn, it's up to them. They just happen to all pick the the computer generated because it's that much more flexible for the director and for everybody else, really. I mean, there are so many advantages to doing that with the different camera angles. You could change your mind. You can really tweak things uh, more easily than you could with the traditional stuff. So I think there are a lot of misconceptions revolving around the two styles or the two approaches. And sadly, Princess and the Frog kind of got stuck right in the middle of that. And but for me, my favorite part of the whole film is that it's hand drawn, and I think it's beautiful. I like the hand painted backgrounds and the hand drawn characters and everything.
Yeah, I agree, Mitch. And just so you were saying, Lily, too, the just a quick shout out to that almost there sequence as well. That's another Eric Goldberg. That that
Oh
how it
yeah,
really changes the style. It almost looks like it's just like on paper or something. You know what I mean? Just
yeah,
how
yeah.
and that again, another great song and just a beautiful sequence. It's just knocks your socks off. The animation's so cool. Um, and yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, Mitch, because I sure wish that we get more hand drawn, or at least kind of the style of even if they're using computers, to create
Yeah, yeah.
it. But still, yeah. What a bummer. Well, and I appreciate too. Thank you, Lily, for explaining it. And again, um, hope you'll still be friends with me, even though I have it so low on my list.
uh,
All right. Well, are we ready to reveal our worst film from the last 15 years or 14 years?
Yes. Well,
yes.
Disney.
I feel like what you just said, Stan, too, I feel like segues into this one well, because this is what I noticed when I was going through this exercise is as I went through the list, even though like, oh, kind of Frozen 2 kind of made me mad, and um, I got hangups about some of the stuff that is on this list. But there's really no film on this list. Surprisingly, this actually surprised me. There's not really a film on this list that I just like hate, except for this last one. Like all of them
uh,
have like, oh, I could kind of see where they were going with it, and there's some really redeeming qualities, even though there's some rough patches. But this one is just I I'm angry. I'm angry at it.
I know we have a
Um,
therapy session here right now for the three of us.
yes, yes, and that I mean, no one's even surprised at what we're gonna say because they all hated it too.
Yeah, so we're talking
But
about
yeah,
Wish.
Wish is the one. So yeah, I mean, I'll just start by saying
Please.
I couldn't have felt more disappointed at the end of the film because it wasn't just that it was a bad film, and it was a bad film. Um, but it should have been a great film. You know, the fact that this was like the 100th anniversary film, this was the film that was supposed to be, you know, the sort of the pinnacle of 100 years of Disney
Yeah.
animation
Yep.
and the company and everything. And the fact that they didn't care enough to get the right people, the tried and true people who they've had in their films in the past, and really make sure like they should have started this film way earlier. You know, like this is the film they should have gotten right. And the fact that they botched it as bad as they did, like I actually did feel like upset at the end of the film, like
Yep.
especially in the credits when all of the characters like start showing up in like gold. I'm just like, no, don't you dare try to make me nostalgic about this company after what you just put me through. Like, how dare you? Like, how dare
I
you?
know. When the end credits are the only acceptable thing in the movie, you know, you know,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
you know, you're in trouble.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say, yeah, storyline. I mean, the characters were fairly weak. The whole thing was disjointed. The Disney references were totally over the top and thoughtless in the way that they would fit into the storyline. This was all about plugging as many Disney references as they could in a film, and it did not serve the story at all. And it actually leaves you so confused as to why does she have these seven
The
friends, and like
seven
why is one
friends.
of them always asleep? Like it doesn't make any sense. Like it just is just it's
No.
so odd. It's like, wow, you did all of that just for a joke, like one joke, one reference. I don't know. So, anyways, I want to pause and hear your guys' thoughts.
Stan, what do you think?
Oh, well, I just echo what Lily's saying. I mean, this film was so horrible. And I think a big part of it, just as you said, Lily, is because it's so disappointing. You know, there was this big lead up. It's the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company, and this film is celebrating and commemorating the 100th anniversary of this storied company, you know, and the storied studio. And
Yeah.
instead we get this incredibly stupid film, you know, uninteresting, and yeah, these forced references that just become more annoying and distracting than anything. You know, a terrible story, honestly, the whole time. And I mentioned this earlier. And you know, I don't know anything about this. You know, the songwriter who wrote the songs for this film, and I'm sorry to diss her because you know, hello, she's made songs for a big movie, right? I haven't done
Yeah.
that, but still, they were terrible. And I just think, well, even with the stupid story, you know, someone like Alan Menken or Lin-Manuel Miranda, you know, or even the Lopez's, you know, could have come up with, I think, something infinitely better than these really, you know, lousy songs. And oh, so frustrating. The only thing that I sort of liked about Wish, I thought that it had some moments of lovely animation,
It
and that they
I
did.
were
agree
It
with
and that they
did.
that.
were using kind of an interesting style. You know, they had an interesting art direction where, in some ways, and not that it ever really felt hand drawn, but it kind of reminded me of that Paperman short.
Yeah, and that's what I think
Hmm.
we're
And so
doing.
some
Yeah.
of that I like, but then yeah, like, oh my gosh, the Seven Friends and Bambi and all these other references where you're just, you know, it's just, they're grown worthy rather than like, you know, clever and fun. One thing, just to reference just so I don't forget, back to one of the art, you know, the Chronicle books, the art books, because again, I bought one for Wish, which, you know, again, money I'll never get back. But in any regard, you know, according to this book, though, there was like some care that went into these stupid Easter eggs. Like for the seven friends, they use the same color palette as each of the seven dwarfs for the seven friends. It's like the woman who plays Doc. Like her clothing is the same color of clothing that Doc had, and stuff that you. But honestly, it's just like, well, who cares? You know what I mean? Because they don't serve the they don't serve the story at all in the film. Anyway, I have nothing nice to say about it, so I'm going to turn this time to turn over to you, Mitch. So you can spare the listeners of my rage.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, Ralph Breaks the Internet had an 88% Rotten Tomato score, and Wish has a 48%
Oh, that
tomato
makes me
meter
that
score.
makes me so happy. I mean, it
Uh,
was like recognized kind of universally, like, oh, this film is not good.
it's sad because you got like Zootopia to 98 with the
Yeah.
critics and Moana 95. Strange World has a 72%
Oh, that's interesting.
tomato
Really
meter,
interesting.
which is shocking to me.
Yeah,
But
me
then
too.
you've got Wish down there in the 48% range. So I I struggle with this movie because, well, for one, it's not really written for me. I'm like a middle aged man who
Yeah,
doesn't
that's a
like.
good point. I'm not the target audience by any means, but
I'm
still.
definitely not the target audience. The first time I saw it, I was on an airplane. I never saw it in the theater, which I wish I did just to see like if I would have. I probably would have given it a bit more of a chance. I saw it on an airplane, and then I thought, okay, I can't judge it off of that experience. So then I saw it, like at home. Um, I kept thinking it was like one of those Disney Plus series that my daughter might watch like on
Yeah.
accident. Like
Yeah.
it's just not it's not well formula. It's not well thought out. I think this could have used another year of story work.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I was a defender of the animation, like when everybody was kind of getting uptight about the animation. I love the animation of Paperman, and then they did it with the Feast with the little dog, and they
Yes.
added
Yeah.
color to
Feast.
that, and they added the color, which was great. And so this one, a full length feature, that's pretty cool. But a lot of times I thought it was a little bit too. I don't want to say flat, but there were some
Mm-hmm.
there were some moments in the animation that were really great and some that weren't as great. So again, like everything else, you've got a lot of really talented people working on this. You've got a lot of, and then you've got, I don't know, things just getting in the way in production schedules or whatever. I don't know really what happens, but not all films you can get the same 100 filmmakers on a project and make something really great, and the same 100 filmmakers on another project and make something that's not very great. And it's kind of
Yeah.
an anomaly. It's a little bit of a mystery that how that can even happen. And there have never been two projects where you have the same crew and talent all working together. So that's just kind of a hypothetical, but or an exaggeration at least. So I don't want to diss anybody for their contribution because the individual parts are pretty strong, but as a whole, it doesn't really come together. And
Yeah.
which is so sad because it should have been the this generation's um, kind of the hallmark film of the 100th anniversary, the big
Yeah.
story, the story that every little girl wants to dress up as the main character, and every little boy just wants to watch this film. Everybody should really be in love with this movie, and it's just sadly it's not the case.
You
Yeah.
know,
And I with the animation piece too, I thought the animation was really beautiful. I
yeah, on the big
remember
screen,
watching it.
I thought it really looked beautiful on the big screen
It
too.
looked
Yeah.
good, but to your point, it didn't work for this film. Like
Yep.
it
Agreed.
just if they were going to have a film full of campy Disney jokes, like that wasn't the right animation style for
Style,
what
yeah.
they rolled out. Like for me, that's what was disjointing about it. Is like, oh yeah, this doesn't feel right for what this is.
So
You know.
I go ahead,
Oh no, please, no,
Sam.
please after you, Mitch, please.
I'm going to say something a little bit controversial, probably. Did you see the Disney Plus release of the Rescue Rangers movie?
Yes, it did.
Okay. So they use mixed media. What they did is they kind of did a celebration of Disney animation, um, in a kind of a roundabout way. Did you see that, Lily?
No, I didn't. I mean,
Okay.
I saw the previews, but I'm a Rescue Rangers fan, so I was like, don't ruin this for me.
So
Yeah.
they ruined it, but in like in a way that they owned it to where it almost worked.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So my point is that if you're going to do um, if you're going to do a movie full of references of the previous catalog of films, you either got to like just go for it and really own it and not even apologize for it and just embrace that as what as something that you're going to do. And they didn't do that with Wish. And the Chippendale Rescue Ranger thing, they kind of like are super. They have no shame whatsoever. Just like anything goes, Roger Rabbit, all these different kind of references, and it's kind of a neat. It's sort of and I'm not saying Wish should have done this, but did you see the short called Once Upon a Time? Is that what it's called?
Yes. Once Upon a Studio,
Once
and
Upon a Studio.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Mitch, because I want to talk about that. But please go for it.
Because Once Upon a Studio was like celebrating 100 years of Disney magic and everything, and they were able to kind of cram. And I don't like when they cram in a bunch of different characters into one uh, time and place because they exist in different geographies in different centuries and stuff. You don't want, it's not always my favorite when like a princess from France and a princess from the Arabian Peninsula are hanging out. Like that doesn't make sense to me. But they said, okay, we're gonna really celebrate the studio, and we're gonna bring back all these characters and have these interactions between the characters as if they do exist in this studio in whatever form. Chippendale Rescue Rangers, I thought did that as well in a good way. So if you're going to just like have a bunch of little campy moments of uh, cameos of different characters and all that stuff, then go for it. Just like go for it and do it right instead of this kind of like
Yes.
weird like,
Hmm.
hey, thanks John for not eating me. Oh, no problem, Bambi. And then you're like, okay, is that Little
Exactly.
John that they're trying to be? Is that Bambi? Is that because that's not Bambi? That doesn't look like. Is the name just Bambi? It's like what are they going here? Okay, dwarfs. Okay, what's happening? Like it's a little
Yes.
bit confusing, and I don't love when they cake things on too heavily. Like I don't want them to go like full on like Shrek because I'm not like that's a little bit too much in my opinion. But at the same time, like, okay, where was that threshold between like, okay, we're going to celebrate our canon and then like, oh, we're also going to make an independent film that's not really related to any of these other films. Like, how do you give us a better balance? Give us something that I don't know that actually be a celebration.
Yeah. To your point, it's the fact that they didn't go all the way one way or the other. It's like it's a fairy tale, but it's also kind of full of campy jokes, but it's also kind of not, but it's also kind of like I think it's those types of things that make it hard. I think what would have really worked for me is if like kill the Bambi, kill the seven friends, like don't do any of that stuff. But like the subtle moments, not really subtle, but like the moment where like the star makes the sparkly rainbow over the castle, like that kind of stuff I think would have been great if it's like, oh, okay, they're making a little nod to Disney, or it's the thing over the castle, like we like that. I think those more subtle references would have worked if they could have. I mean, him picking up the wishes and talking about Peter Pan and Mary Poppins, like it was just so over the top in a moment where we were supposed to be really scared of him. And then, like, you took us so far out of that by making those jokes. Like, so, it would have been nice. Some subtle references would have been nice. But then, yeah, if you were going to do it, then just make this a comedy then. Like, let's just go there then.
Yeah,
That's like, it's
Exactly.
like you
Like
have a
this
serious
is
and then a little,
all, we're
yeah.
just gonna cram in as many references and Easter eggs and all the stuff. Yeah. But instead, yeah.
yeah. It's it's such it's so mixed up. It's so and not. I don't know. I mentioned the Shrek thing because um, as much as I get frustrated with the Shrek franchise, they also made like $4 billion or whatever in the box office. They
Yeah,
like did
totally.
super well, but the thing that they did super they did do well, and it was kind of annoying to me, but they said, okay, we're going to go after all of these fairy tales that have been made over the years. We're going to basically going to go after Disney. We're going to make fun of Pinocchio. We're going to make fun of all these different things. We're going to go after the stupid prince and the
Yes.
kings and all these different characters. We're just going to go for it. We're just going to cram it all in there. And as much as I hate that, it also worked. It did
Yes.
exactly what they wanted to do.
Yes.
Um, and
Yes. It
and
went all the way.
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
and Roger Rabbit as well. Like I know
Yes.
Lily, you're a fan of Roger Rabbit, so Roger Rabbit was like, okay, we're gonna Tasmanian Devil, sure, bring him on. Like they 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 just kind of pulled out all the stops and said, this is this kind of Toontown environment, this whole like thing that we're gonna go for. We're just gonna do it. We're not gonna kind of like try to sneak in, things under the radar in kind of weird ways. Um, and we all love the tasteful little references here and there, little Easter eggs, yada yada. But
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh, cute little reference, a cute little tasteful Easter egg that we love from like such and such Pixar film. It was kind of like obnoxious little Easter egg references that didn't land, and I don't know. And I'll tell you the rescue. I'd love to hear your opinion on the maybe off the air, but Stan, about the Rescue Rangers movie, because the idea of it, the whole premise of it is like it's now like 2022 or whatever, and these washed up TV stars, Chip and Dale, Rescue Rangers, have moved on with their lives. They've like gone into other professions and everything, and all the tunes of like the 90s, they're still around, they're alive, but they're not, you got like they're at a comic-con uh, convention, and like Lumiere's there, like they're at a table and nobody's like stopping at their table, at the comic-con table. They're trying to just like have like relive whatever they could from the glory days. And you've got, they're driving cars around town, and you've got just a massive amount of references. It's mixed media, so you've got like hand drawn people walking down the street, and you've got a crocodile wearing clothes walking down the street, and you've got um, uh, you know it's Peter. I don't love this, but Peter Pan with like a 5 o'clock shadow, and he's like got a belly, and
The beer belly.
he's like a hairy chest with a gold chain kind of thing. So they just really like, I don't know, they're like, okay, if we're gonna like make a movie about 90s um afternoon, Disney afternoon sitcom or TV animation, and then like how it connects with all these other like previous films and feature films and everything else. Let's go for it. And one of the like Chip is, he's still hand drawn, but like Dale is like CGI because he like
he,
got the chain. He
he
like
went to like a plastic surgeon kind of thing, whatever.
he like got the conversion to like whatever.
Which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you guys might be talking me into watching this. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I'll give it a chance.
I don't feel like it's disrespectful of the source material, and I mean it's irreverent, as
Okay.
sorry,
Yeah.
as Mitch was saying, but it's but I think just so you're saying it, they went for it. It wasn't just like this are just we're gonna pepper this with little subtle things. It's like, no, these are gags that we're putting in there, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily the right thing to do for the 100th anniversary film, like for Wish, but
Yeah, I think that's it, right? It's like they should have chosen the right thing
Yes.
for this movie.
and then
And
maybe
it's like
that, and
you
yeah,
do fairy tales. That's what you do. And like you didn't do it.
Yeah. I think, and not wanting to backtrack too much, but and I'm sorry, I just thought, because the music was so lousy, I thought that just brought this movie down tremendously in my estimation.
So
But
much. I'll
but
say I liked the theme song. Like
It's pretty, and
And
Ariana DeBose is lovely. I mean, I just think
that's
she.
I just she can do no wrong in my
Oh,
eyes. Like I think that
she's
woman is
fantastic. Oh my
absolutely
gosh,
incredible. In fact,
I
that's one of the
love
things that
her.
makes me mad about the movie is that we
Right?
like
It doesn't.
wasted her talent on this
That's how I
film. I hope they
feel
give her another film.
because she's so wonderful, and I just think, oh, they just wasted her talent on this, mediocre stuff like that. Opening number, that "Welcome to Roses." I mean, Encanto called and they want its song back, um,
No, right? Oh, I
and
was
it
like,
doesn't work.
Yeah.
It
they
doesn't
were
work.
trying to be Lin Manuel Miranda so hard, but they didn't just hire Lin Manuel Miranda to write
Right?
these freaking songs.
Oh, so frustrating. And I'm also really glad, Mitch, you brought up Once Upon a Studio, because in my mind, that's the 100th anniversary piece. Um,
Yeah.
have you both seen that? Lily, have you seen that?
Yeah, I have. I
It's on
I
Disney Plus. If you
feels
have,
like
and
it's
on
big in
YouTube,
my mind, so I need to watch it. Yeah.
it is. I just think it's sublime. I mean, it's short. It's like it's 8 minutes or something. It is so cute, but they deliver on it. Again, they have all these little cameos and hand drawn and CG characters, are there.
Yeah.
But I thought it worked, and it was cute, and just the way that it all came together at the end. That's the one that made me cry. I brought the tears to my
Yeah.
eyes just because it was so. I thought so appropriate and so tender. I mean, just and respectful of all these movies and characters that just
Yeah.
loved over my lifetime.
No, I think that's a great 100th anniversary. Um, it's a love letter to the
Yeah,
past. It's a love
yeah.
letter to the 100 years of animation,
Really
and
respectful of Walt Disney.
very
I
respectful
thought,
of Walt Disney, and very well animated. They did a beautiful job. Like I can't even imagine how many people they brought back for that. It's just
yeah,
lovely.
the complexity of it. Yeah,
I'll tell you my big frustration with Wish. I did not buy into the whole. They tried to make this drama that I didn't really believe, of like everybody has a wish, but they don't remember it after they don't, they have no memory of it, and it's like stored in the bad guy's place.
in a little sphere, right, in a little
Yeah,
bubble thing.
yeah, and you're like, okay, so they seem to be overly concerned about their wish. They don't even know what the wish is. Is that, am I right? Am I,
Everybody shows it to Ash. It's like, hi, let's take a tour of the castle. Look at this. This is
yeah.
where I hold everybody's wishes. Like, what?
I just don't think if you and I, the three of us, each individually made a wish that was like from the depths of our hearts, and it meant the whole world to us, then it got taken away, and then we don't even know, we forget what it is. It's like the memory has been erased or whatever. I could be getting all these things wrong because I generally don't. I didn't retain very much from the film. I had to watch it like,
I've tried to forget.
like, yeah, it doesn't seem it doesn't seem like convincing to me. Whereas like Tangled, you've got a little baby who was stolen, and you could just tell that it's really broken up the parents, and she's just has this yearning for like seeing what's out there, and she just feels like there's something more. And you buy into it, like it makes sense. I mean, there. I could not suspend disbelief very much in Wish, and I don't know. Maybe it's me.
But what I'll say to that is I actually like it conceptually. I like the idea that like we all have dreams and we all have something that we're hoping for and that thing makes us us. And if that gets taken away, then, and I think to your point, one of the biggest weaknesses of it is that the wishes were so shallow that like someone wishes they could fly and then the grandfather wishes that he could be inspiring or and
Yeah.
that was one of the better ones. I mean, a lot of, you're looking in these bubbles and you're thinking, wow, you could wish for anything and that's what you wished for. um I feel like if the wishes had been really really beautiful, like someone who just wants to like take more risks in their lives and like things that we can like all relate to,
Yeah.
And so when those things get restored, it's like, oh my gosh, like, yes, I do have this desire. And like, what am I waiting for a wizard to come and tell me, to take the risk? Like, I can just do that without this wizard. I think
Yeah.
that would have been a very powerful story. But like the fact it was like, oh, this woman lost the fact that she wishes she could fly like a bird, and like she's not actually gonna fly ever, and like that's not even a thing. Like I don't. It was so unrelatable in that way. But I felt like I kind of liked the floating wishes. I thought they looked cool. And I liked that there was kind of like a power to them. Like, but I think if the wishes mattered, I think that they
Yeah.
would have
Yeah.
been. But I mean, we don't even find out what the mom's wish is at the end, and like we don't, like even like her wish to be an apprentice. Like, wow, you can wish for anything, and like being an apprentice is it, and
Not the
like
actual thing, but the apprentice of the thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you can wish for
Yeah.
anything, and that's what you want to be is like someone on the totem pole. Okay, like no, you didn't. No one wished that as their like one big wish. So yeah, I feel like that was the weakness on that.
And the star that manifests itself then,
Mm-hmm.
to Asha. I just
Mm-hmm.
couldn't decide if it was cute or if it was Super Mario Brothers. And uh, I still to this day I see it and I just think,
Oh man.
One
what are
hundred
you?
percent.
What is this? It just I don't know, disjointed and
It needed to be magical.
yes, yeah,
It needed to be like something mystical that's floating and it's like glowing and we don't know what it does, but then it sort of has intelligence. I think that would have been really cool. But then it was like, oh, you're like this little glowy, cutesy star with a face that's kind of
yeah.
squiffy. I don't know, like
It's
hopefully,
like from Hello
hopefully,
Kitty or something.
Hello Kitty. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like Pokemon.
Oh come on, yeah.
Hopefully, Wish will live on forever in the form of a theme park attraction that replaces one of our favorite attractions.
absolutely,
Yes.
Um,
absolutely.
I mean, like we're also lucky to have our one of our favorite attractions, Splash Mountain, replaced with kind of a terrible sequel to Princess and the Frog. It does not even tell the story of the film, and it doesn't even, you know. I really hope that Wish can. What are my other favorite rides? Pirates of the Caribbean. Maybe
Yeah, I
they
was
can do
gonna say
a
they
Wish
should do
overlay.
something.
Uh,
The one saving grace, I last time I was at Disneyland, they had Wish stuff for sale, and it was on clearance, and I still don't think anybody was buying it.
ready?
Yeah,
So
that's
because the,
true.
the the merch didn't sell at all,
It's
I
so sad because that little goat could be like just such a endearing little character, but then he starts talking like a
then he becomes
old
the most
man. Yeah, yeah,
annoying
Oh, I didn't know my
character.
voice was so low. Yeah, no,
yeah. Stupid little jokes and it doesn't. I don't know. I thought if he was like this adorable little sidekick, then we could that it's worth buying a little plush animal of him. But then he starts talking in like an old British guy or whatever, and I'm like,
Oh,
I don't know.
well,
another
I'm assuming that
misfire,
was meant to be a nod to Esmeralda and Esmeralda's goat, but like, it's like, well, but we liked Esmeralda's
You
goat.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
do you like Jolly
We
the
we
goat?
don't we don't like this goat.
No, no. Oh, it's such a shame. So hey,
How did
I'm
you
just gonna.
guys feel about the queen and Magnifico like that? How did you feel about that whole like the queen ends up turning on him and then she's still a good guy? Like,
I thought
uh,
that was kind of interesting that the queen,
yeah.
uh, and that was kind of maybe like the only story point that I thought, oh, okay, well that's kind of interesting, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused by her character, like
Yeah,
what she was going. I don't know. I
and I like that King Magnifico again was like a villain,
Why does he have to
that
be called Magnifico? Like couldn't we have given him a cool name like instead of
well, it's
Magnifico?
just par for the course with this movie, right? I
His
mean, just
songs were so
yeah.
bad. Oh.
Oh, they were terrible, and I
The
think
weirdest song of the whole thing. Can we say that the weirdest song was the song that they sing about the wishes, which is clearly a song for two parents to sing about their children, and
yeah,
like the fact that they're singing about these floating balls in the sky is just super weird.
it's just
That
like
was so weird.
what? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And I
speechless.
think it's awkward that she's at the end of this thing, we finally get to the crux of the show, and she's on this giant tower, like whispering the reprise of her song, and like suddenly everyone hears that and is like on board all of a sudden. Like I thought that was really weird too. Like there's so many
Me too.
weird things like that. You're like, can they even hear her right now? Like what's happening right now? And like then like suddenly these people are sort of like rising up. See, I feel like that was like the moment where it's like if these wishes were amazing and like touching and
Yeah,
like we related to them and then like suddenly like these wishes were like being restored to people. Like anyways, yeah.
Do
no,
we know much about the
Classic.
like
Yeah.
the making of it? Like, do we know what kind of the journey they went through? Because a
What was
lot
its
of films have like
budget?
such a like Emperor's New Groove, for example, like a fan favorite, wasn't a huge success, but it's got a really interesting
it's a
backstory.
fascinating backstory. Yeah,
Like it went through a whole evolution. Then it kind of got ignored by management just long enough for them to make the film that they wanted to make. And well, some of them wanted to make, and they're like, okay, we're just going to go crazy David Spade with it. And then audiences loved it. And it's kind of a
and it's a
cult,
cult favorite,
it's a
right? I
cult
mean, it's just
favorite.
like yeah, like everybody loves that movie.
So it makes me wonder if this one had its own like tumultuous uh, path. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
I haven't
don't.
heard much about it.
I haven't either. You know, I have that the Art of Wish book that talks a little bit about the genesis of the story, which I actually thought was interesting, in that they wanted, a big element of Disney movies, just like Lily's saying, is having a wish,
Yeah.
and then I think that they wanted to explore like, well, where does that wish come from, or is there power like in the kind of the quote unquote wishing star,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what and I was like, well, wow, that's what you came up with, based on kind of a more noble
Yeah.
idea.
It's
And I love what Lily's saying too about just the wishes, because sure they wanted us to be about wishes, but yeah, these wishes are so dumb.
Yeah. You're like,
Anyway,
let that
oh,
wish go. Just let it go. You don't even need that one back. Like just yeah, move
it's
on with
kind
your
of
life.
the midi chlorian equivalent of like let's explain stuff that really should have a better explanation. We're just going to cram in some stupid explanation of why that thing is the way it is.
wish I just feel like is like the biggest low point of I think, and
Yeah.
it really got me bummed out because you go from something as fantastic that we've talked about, it's like Big Hero 6, just a decade ago, and
Yeah.
then here we are at Wish, and it really had me worried about what was going on at Walt Disney Animation Studios. I mean, I know that this is not the first time that the studio has had an ebb and flow. I mean, I think they were at a low point when Laster and Camel, got brought in.
Yeah, yeah, Chicken Little
Yeah.
era. The
Yes. So and we know that they've and the Black Cauldron, I mean that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. And
they do it every 20, 30 years.
yes, it's like it's the cycle,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm ever hopeful that they're going to bounce back because I guess in some ways I was just thinking this is so depressing, like this is going to be the demise here at the 100th anniversary. That should be like the pinnacle of artistic excellence. Is the low point of just like crappy filmmaking.
Yes.
So uh, anyway, I try not to be too negative and thinking about okay, well, let's look at this future slate. So we know of 3 films now that are 2 of them are on the calendar when they're going to get released, and then 1 has been announced, but there's no date. So the next movie coming out of Walt Disney Animation Studios is this Thanksgiving, and it's Moana 2.
Okay.
Now, when I first heard that this was being announced, I'll be anxious to hear what you both thought. I was just thinking, and who wants that film? I know I don't. Like,
Yeah.
really? Like they're going to do a Moana 2? And then I heard, and as if you've heard this too, so Disney opened up Walt Disney Animation Studios specifically opened up a studio in Vancouver, Canada,
Yeah.
and with the sole intent of creating content for Disney Plus. So they were creating a Moana series, also a Tiana series, which
Oh,
we
really?
haven't heard squat about
Uh-huh.
for a long time. I mean, I think even like Disney Plus. I think when Disney Plus got announced or rolled out in 2019, they were talking about this Tiana series, and there's still no Tiana series. And I wonder if they're even still going to do it. But anyway, so Moana 2 is being made in Canada, and it basically they've turned what was going to be a multi-episode series into a movie.
To a film,
Now,
like a feature length film.
feature length film, and so I have such mixed feelings about it. Let me just briefly say it because I'm dying to hear what you think about it, because um, I'm thinking, okay, well, here they've got this kind of new group, even though it's been in existence for a few years. This in Canada, maybe they are so hungry and so desirous to make something really good that it's going to be
Yeah,
terrific.
might happen. Yes.
Or it could be like a cheapquel. It's like the Return of Jafar. You know what I mean? With better animation.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really conflicted about it. What do you two think about it, and what do you know about it?
It's scary when you have you form a studio that's going to work on basically TV
Yeah,
animation, and
yeah,
then you kind of quickly change your mind and do the feature thing. I'm sure they're very talented. I'm always a fan of more animation projects. It gives more um, people work, like it gives more animators work, especially when we've seen so many great animators basically have to retire, like they lose their jobs or whatever. Um, but it's kind of scary. Like, are they going to? I mean, Disney Studios have been around this long, and then you open like a kind of a remote office. Are they going to have that magic? Are they going to have the right formula to like make it work? Are they going to have the right management? I don't know. I mean, what time will tell. Maybe Disney Studios Vancouver is going to be exactly what you said. They're going to be so passionate about making the best film possible. Then hey, maybe they do it. I mean, that's how Pixar was when they first started. They were like
yes,
this small group,
exactly.
but we've seen it also go the other way. So, um,
It's the pirate fairy. Remember, like the Disney
oh
Toon
Oh
yeah, oh
no,
Studios?
gee,
I'm
yeah,
no,
like,
of course,
no, no.
like
yeah.
it's
What was that Studio Seven
Disney
or
Disney Toon.
Disney Toon?
Yeah,
Um, I don't think Moana needs a sequel. I think there are other films that warrant a sequel more, just based on like the story itself. But I don't know. Maybe they got a good idea up their sleeves. I don't know.
I agree with that. Moana had such a definitive end, and it was a beautiful end, and like it was like there was a wound and it got healed, and like that is great. And there are other films like you're saying that I feel like, in fact, Big Hero 6, my number one.
Yeah,
I know they did the Big Hero 6 series, but I'd love to see a Big Hero 6 sequel.
yeah,
like a
yeah.
trilogy would be
Um,
awesome with that. Yeah,
Oh, seriously,
yeah.
yes,
But yeah, Moana doesn't need it. I will say, the thing that makes me kind of feel hopeful about it is like when I saw the trailer, I just thought, okay, the thing that bugs me about sequels oftentimes is, and we did this post once on Imaginary Disney, but the things that make sequels bad is like when you're not true to who these characters are, or something that gets done gets undone, so we put the
yeah,
heart of the ocean in, and then oh no, something happens and the heart gets taken out, and then we got to put it back in, like that kind of
yeah,
stuff that really
exactly.
bugs me.
yeah,
um
yeah,
where this feels like, okay, now we kind of have a story about the ancestors. Maybe we have a story, like she's talking about getting the islands reunited. um that could be something interesting in that.
Sure.
And maybe kind of like Stan is saying, like maybe these people had very little oversight, and so there weren't. I think what the problem with some of these larger films is there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and they have so
Yeah.
much talent that everyone wants to be the talent.
Yeah.
And maybe in this different place, they actually just kind of had enough freedom and space to make something good, and ended up being so good that they were like, wow, this might be the next movie. So I'm hopeful for that. I'm gonna pause. I'm really gonna be disappointed if they ruin Moana. Like if they ruin her character,
Yeah.
if
Yep.
they undo things that were done, that's gonna really bother me. So I'm hoping that they, at the very least, don't ruin what was already created.
Yeah. I agree.
Fingers crossed. I don't know anything about the songwriters or that are writing the song. It's not Lin Manuel Miranda.
Oh, I thought it was going to
No,
be.
it's not.
Okay, see, that's already
Which
risky.
see,
That's
it's a red
ugh.
flag, I
That's a
think.
red flag. That's a very red
That should
And
be
flag.
a deal breaker for them, honestly. If they can't get him, deal breaker.
now I'm trying to remember. I was talking to a friend. I think she was saying that the songwriting team wrote a musical episode. I think it was for Bridgerton. That Netflix. It's like the
Yeah, it's really popular right
the
now.
R-rated Jane Austen
Yeah,
show. Isn't that what it
pretty much.
is? But and she loved it. She just said, "Oh, that musical episode of Bridgerton was brilliant." So I hope I'm getting that. That I'm accurate on that. But again, I don't know. So it's said
Okay, well,
I've
we'll
got a lot of red flags. I
see.
mean, of course I'm going to be going because I mean,
Of course.
just I'm the movie slut, but but oh, I'm worried. I'm concerned. Wouldn't it be wonderful to be pleasantly surprised?
Hey, what if we could live up to the first? I mean, that would be
Yeah,
wonderful.
exactly. And and they create just kind of their own wonderful continuation of the story that's really great.
Yeah,
Um,
hopefully it's a Toy Story 2 and not a Cars 2.
yes, exactly. Perfectly said, Mitch. Um, then in 2025, we're getting Zootopia 2. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this has
Wah,
the same
wah.
creative team. All right, just for Lily.
uh,
They're, that it's being made in California. It's being made at Walt Disney Animation Studios, and I think that it's got. I don't know about the writers, but I think it's got the same, at least one of the same directors of from the original. I think it was Byron Howard.
yeah,
Uh,
Byron Howard, is he going?
uh,
He's on for the
I
second one.
believe he is directing Zootopia 2. And again, but I don't know much about it other than this. They're making it and it's coming out next year.
That film I think can make a sequel work because it's there wasn't like some crazy definitive ending. I mean, the little situation they were in, with the lion and everything kind of got resolved, but it's a metropolis full of a lot of stories that are happening
Yeah.
simultaneously. So that's good. I mean, maybe we'll get invited to go see that before it's
Yes.
released.
And
And
we're
Lily,
taking Lily.
we'll force Lily to go
You
with
guys can
us.
get all nostalgic about it too.
What's your take on this sequel, Lily? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, here's a movie that did not need a sequel for sure. Um, it, I just, I feel like I already know this is going to be just full of, yeah, it's going to be more pop culture references and all the things that I don't love. Um, if there are like half rabbit, half fox little babies jumping around, right out for me.
You're just
uh,
gonna leave the theater. You're like, I'm out of here.
As soon as I see a half rabbit,
uh,
half fox, I'm gonna stand up and walk out.
no, the boy babies are foxes and the girl babies are rabbits. It's like
There
it's
we
like when
go.
Kermit the
Okay.
Frog and Miss Piggy have kids.
Oh Oh, okay. There you
Frogs
go.
and
Same,
pigs.
same with
Or
Lady and
Lady and the
Tramp,
Tramp,
right?
you know?
Lady and the Tramp, yeah.
Oh wow, that is fun. So again, who knows? I just don't, Then we get to what's been announced but no date. My guess is this going to be in 2026, but we don't know. We don't know yet. Is Frozen 3,
Oh, gee.
and
No,
who wants that? It's
no,
like
don't do it.
no.
Don't. We don't want that.
It's really frustrating.
I think would be really fun for Frozen 3 is if they're just like more sneezing, and then like more like baby little snowmans, and
Yeah,
maybe
that would
like
be awesome.
The Snowgies, or whatever those are called.
The
basically
multiplying
all about the
snow babies.
Snowies. Yeah, I think those should just be like maybe the film should even just be like about them, like
Maybe like
they're all
a girl Olaf, like he gets a girlfriend.
okay. There you go. There you go. Wow,
There
I
you
was not
go.
thinking out of the box enough. That's good.
Yeah.
Um,
Just as long as I get my Olaf spinner ride. That's all.
Oh, gee.
That's all I
Can you
want.
imagine that right in the middle of Fantasyland?
I know. That's all I want. Not.
A giant fiberglass Olaf
Yeah.
and like all his little clips, little
Maybe
voice.
you ride in one of the Snowgy things. That's
Oh,
what you sit in.
yeah, that'd be
It's
incredible.
just circle around.
Snowgy. Is that what they're called?
I think they're called Snowgies. I could be wrong,
Oh,
Snowgies. Oh
gee.
my gosh.
but anyway, I'm worried. So I'm just worried. Now I don't wish to cast shade on the management, but also, I mean, again, given that Strange World was so problematic and Wish was so bad,
Yeah.
I just think, I mean, are there some issues with the management at
Yeah,
Walt
I
Disney
gotta
Animation
wonder.
Studios? Can we blame it all on Bob Chapek again? I mean,
Yeah.
what, what do you think?
I think that this is just, I mean, you're going to get my rant about publicly traded companies again, but like the fact that we're so focused on exponential growth at a time when our economy is kind of in crisis, I think is a lot of this because, you get um, Bob Iger, who's back for the billionth time in this head of Disney seat, trying to split up the company, organize, like leave it in the place that it can actually do the things. But and I like Bob Iger, but I think that when you feel like you have to constantly look at things from a business perspective and particularly a growth perspective, where it's like we've got to churn these movies out to hit a certain profit ratio because that's what Wall Street needs from us. And again, it's hard to blame the guy because he does have to be accountable for that. But at the same time, I think that we've really crossed a path here that this is coming at the detriment of telling stories, which is their main job. Their main job is to
Yeah.
tell us stories,
Which is
and
ironic
they are
because
not delivering it.
the irony is that the good stories and the good films make more money, and then the shareholders are more happy. It's a win-win. I don't understand this whole and I'm with you because like I know you're trying to appease the major players and the stock holders and everything, but make a really killer film that's super good. Get out of the way of the creative people. Management needs to know how to step back, and then that killer, awesome, amazing blockbuster film that's really good is going to make them billions of dollars. Like it's not like you have to choose between making money and making good films. It's not one or the other. They're not mutually exclusive. I don't get it.
Yes, and you do see different choices being made by the different studios. Disney will get it out on time. That's what they're going to do. Pixar won't. Pixar, I remember when we were touring Pixar animation studios, and one of the animators there told us like they had I don't remember if it was Dinosaur or Cars 2. It was Cars 2. They had merchandise out. They had merchandise made, and Pixar was like, "This isn't done yet, and we're
Oh
we're
yeah,
changing characters and eliminating characters, and like
That was for
we're
Cars
just going to do
3.
it. Oh, Cars 3.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
for
Right,
Cars.
right.
That's
they like
right. It was for
changed
Cars 3.
some of the main characters. They like completely changed
Yeah.
halfway through.
Yeah. And
Yep.
like these merch shops are like, what are you doing? Like, we've already built our plush toys or whatever. And they're like, sorry, story first.
And Disney
And I
won't do
think
that. Disney's
that
not like that.
Disney won't do that. Yes. I mean, how many times did they push off Toy Story 4? But they wouldn't sacrifice it. Like Woody and Buzz, like they were going to take care of those characters.
They
And I
told us.
think that, yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, just, they really have a good thread through. And we didn't need Toy Story 4. I'd rather them not keep making these movies. But I will say they make them with integrity, and Woody is always Woody, and he makes choices that Woody would make, and Buzz is always Buzz, and he makes choices that Buzz would make. And they try to come up with new scenarios and new villains, and they do a good job with that, and I think that's where the Disney Animation Studio has a real weakness.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not that one of those times we visited. They told us that Cars 3 was moved up a year so that Toy Story 4 can have
Mm-hmm.
more time. Like they gave Toy Story 4 a bigger priority and more resources and more time and everything. And that was very interesting. The way that they kind of, I don't know, they do what they need to do to whereas Disney, they're kind of sellouts, and which is unfortunate. But that goes back to the 80s. I mean, that goes back pretty far. They've been doing that for a long time. I think really, if anything, Disney should bust a moo and make Home on the Range 2 for us.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Yeah,
That's it.
let's.
if let's get the people what they want. If
Oh,
you want a cash
exactly.
grab, if you want something that everybody's gonna remember and show up for,
Absolutely.
make it
Home on the Range
CGI,
too.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. Bring Roseanne Barr back. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah, the whole
just
cast. Yeah, get
just yeah.
all of that.
Everybody's still
Oh
around.
my goodness.
That's it. You bring up such interesting points. It's going to be fascinating to see um what happens. I really, I know I feel like I need to be more optimistic, but I think I got to be realistic too. But I sure hope that the studio that I love and revere is going to survive this latest dip. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
One thing, and I know when we do our Pixar episode, we'll be talking about this, but uh, I was really actually quite shocked that Inside Out 2 has just been killing it at the box office.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
has.
And
Yeah,
not that I was opposed to it when I heard that we're making it. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, a sequel or whatever. I thought the film was terrific. Again, which we can talk about some more later. But maybe there's also like people want to go see Moana 2. I mean, I'm not one of them. I'll go, but
yeah,
maybe there's this, people love that story and it's gonna do a huge box office. I guess the proof will be if the movie's good, because I think that's what Inside Out 2 had going for, at least in my opinion, is that it's a really good film.
Yeah.
Uh,
Exactly.
and worthy of box office success rather than just kind of only by name only or something. What's your take on that? It's kind of like a final thought of you know this business model, or Moana 2 sequels that we don't want, but maybe the marketplace does.
I I think they should slow down a little bit and just try to make the best films they could possibly make. I don't think that's a high priority right now. I know Bob Iger said that he's going to make story
Yeah, like
top
stories
priority,
is
but
top priority again, according to Bob Iger, and I
I
guess
don't
the
know.
proof will be in the pudding, right? We'll see.
You got to wonder how many hundreds of ideas are pitched to management that they pass up on, like from their animators and the other filmmakers.
That's it.
That
Yes.
would be infinitely better than what they end up producing.
I was going to say the exact same thing, Mitch. You cannot tell me that a studio chock full of the most talented people in the world have no stories to tell. I'm sorry, that's just not a thing. Like that, there are infinite amount of stories to be told, and there are probably hundreds of scripts lying around getting rejected by leadership because they don't want to take risks, you know. And I think that's the other contrast between Pixar and Disney is Turning Red was a risk. Like that was a total risk.
Yeah.
And Soul was a risk. And I'm not saying that their risks always win. I mean, there are, you know, Pixar has their own low points, but I think the fact that they let their animators and they let their storytellers and their script writers kind of, you know, push the edges a little bit, push the envelope, you know, I think, you know, I think that some of these movies, even the ones that I don't love, I feel like they made the studio better because they tried new things and they said,
Yeah.
okay, we tried this, it didn't go well, like what can we learn from it, you know? Whereas like to see Moana, Zootopia, Frozen, that just tells me that studio's scared. They're not willing to take any risks. They're going to try to make money on what they've already made money on. They looked at their highest grossing films and they said, let's just make more of that because we know that works. That feels, that's cowardice to me.
Yeah, it seems like the Eisner, the later Eisner era all over again in some ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, and you know, again, that's why I think why one of the reasons Wish was such a failure too is because there was no risk taking with that. They were trying to follow the formula, but in like all the worst ways.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was weak.
Yeah.
It's like a, you know, oh yeah, interesting. Well, such what great points and what great insights you two have. I always love talking with you. Thank you again so much for
thanks for having us,
for being here, and thank you for all the great work you do on ImagineeringDisney.com. Well, that does it for this episode of the Movies Past and Present podcast. Huge thanks again to Mitch and Lilly from ImagineeringDisney.com for joining me for this epic discussion. We're going to be getting back together shortly to have a very similar discussion about the last few years of Pixar Animation Studios films. So look forward to that. And more our rankings can be found in the podcast notes on my website at moviespastandpresent.com. Subscribe to the podcast where you listen to podcasts. And follow me and send me messages on Instagram. I'm at moviespap, as in past and present. As always, I hope you will enjoy some good movies this week, whether they be from the past or the present. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, be safe out there and dedicate yourself to the truth.